All right, everyone, welcome all to the Casey and Tyler Show, episode 8. Got quite the recap episode for you guys today. We've got another top 5 segment for you all, and then obviously we'll get into college football week 4, NFL week 3, and a bunch of other stuff. Casey, anything to say before we get started?
Let's just do this.
Let's do it. All right, Casey, over the weekend, one thing that we've highlighted on this show since the beginning, Albert Pujols finally gets to 700.
Yeah, I mean, great milestone. He's one of, what,
Four? Yeah.
4 guys to do it?
It's pretty cool. What, he hit 699 and 700 in the same game?
Pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he did.
I think it came against the Dodgers. I watched the replay, Case. I mean, take it for what you will. They look like batting practice fastballs in there, man. I think they, which it's fine. I am of the belief that it's kind of the unwritten rule, especially it doesn't really affect the outcome of your season. Pretty cool to see Albert, one of the good guys, get to 700.
I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him.
I think there's any players. I mean, I guess we could throw Judge in there just because he's like. You think we'll see another guy get to 700 in our lifetime? It seems like a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot. I mean, you would think a guy like Judge could get there, but no, because he's what, 30? What?
30. He's 30.
No.
See, that's the problem. I feel like people.
You have to be on a hot start, and you have to get there early.
Yeah, I think like what we see nowadays more than we did in the past is guys don't start as early now. Like they'll be in the minors longer versus, coming up and making an immediate impact at 20, 21 years old.
You have your occasional unicorn guys that come out that early and are playing at 21, 22 or whatnot.
Yeah, I do think it's like longevity too, right? Like it's you did the math for Pujols' career. Didn't he have to average like 35?
Yeah, in his career, 22-year career, you would have to average 35 home runs, like 35 and some change,
right?
To get to 700. I mean, that's a lot.
And then you got to think like with injuries nowadays, it just seems like people play through less. So like the littlest stuff can make you. And you're right. I mean, you have to be. It's about consistency, right? I mean, like Judge could hit 65 this year. If he hits 35 next year, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It feels to me like a lot of these MLB streaks that we talk about, whether it's winning 300 games, 3,000 strikeouts, they're just harder to achieve nowadays than they were in the past. Analytics is part of that. You take guys out in the 4th inning because you don't want them to face a rotation or a lineup for a 3rd time. So now they're not getting credit for the win.
I mean, guys are probably taking a lot more rest days than they used to.
Yeah, just because I'm sure analytics shows that it's better to. You know what I mean? Things like that. I don't know. 700 home runs is a lot. We'll give our claps and our kudos. Good job, Pujols. Just know we've been talking about that since I think the first F we brought it up. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I thought we were still going.
You're good. But yeah, claps, Pujols. That's cool. I don't know. I think it's a good thing that he got it. So now we don't have the whole saga and drama of like, will he come back just to hit?
Yeah, will he come back to hit 700? I mean. Now it's gonna be okay. What if he hits 7? What if he gets up to 705, 706? It's like, does he come back and try to beat Babe?
What's Babe at? 715?
15 or 13?
13, something like that. Shit.
I mean, if you're coming into the year where knowing you have to hit 10 or less home runs, I'm coming back for one more year.
You're just
I'm telling the Cardinals, be like, look, you guys don't have to play me that much. I mean, obviously, if you're going to make the playoffs, then start playing me a lot because go fuck yourselves.
Right.
But I want to be top 3. Because he's sitting at 4 right now. I want to be top 3.
Yeah.
Potentially top 2 if you don't consider Bonds.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. it would definitely. I feel like there's people that would love that story, and then there'd be another group of people, which I would fall in this category, that would hate that because I don't want to.
Because you're a secret Yankees fan, you're a closet Yankees fan.
No,
you want number 3 to be held by the great Babe.
No,
like Yankees. Is that why?
It's also a Red Sox.
Pretty sure that's why.
He's also a Red Sox.
Okay, and since the Red Sox sold him and traded him, they went on a 84-year drought. So, yeah, bring that up again, you closet Yankee fan.
Shut the fuck up. I'm just saying, I would be so annoyed with this a whole year of him just trying to hit 10 home runs. I don't think that there's not room on him for a rush. He's not productive enough, in my opinion.
He hit how many home runs this past second half of the year? Lot. Impact. I want him on the Sox.
I mean, we'll see. My gut tells me, and I think everything has been indicated, that this Pujols is probably done. But we'll keep an eye on it. If somehow he comes back, you heard it here first from Casey himself. Breaking news. Let's get into some President's Cup talk. It was a good tournament. United States ended up winning the 2022 President's Cup, 17.5 points to 12.5 points. United States moves to 12-1-1. In the 28-year history of the President's Cup, as well as 8-0 on American soil. They entered Sunday singles matches with an 11-7 advantage. Internationals fought hard. I was proud of Trevor Immelman and the guys. All the talk this week was just that they don't have enough. Their team had been decimated by the guys leaving to go to the Live Tour. And I thought they showed a lot of fight, and I liked that. I mean, I think they made the U.S. sweat enough on Sunday to where it was kind of like, okay, guys, got to finish strong.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they like come off to a hot start and then they kind of slowed up a little bit?
Yeah, the second half of the Friday matches really kind of put some momentum in the international team's favor. I mean, the U.S. was only up 4 points heading into the singles matches, and anything can happen in singles. I mean, really anything. It was good. Xander Schauffele scored the clinching point with his one-up singles victory over Corey Connors. Corey Connors, the Canadian, had an awful President's Cup, and we'll get to that in a second when we get to our picks. I thought Spieth was, the certified American hero this week. He went 5-0 on the week. Max Homa, the President's Cup rookie, 4-0 on the week. Some stars were born. Tom Kim for the international side, just taking over headlines. Only 20 years old, I think the 4th youngest player ever in the President's Cup. Played really well, enjoyed the crowd, was having some fun back and forth with the American crowd. I think at one point he put his hand up to his ear like, you guys aren't very loud right now, which I love that. Ended up just being good. I saw a funny-ass picture after the United States won. It's always one of those things where there's a lot of camaraderie with the American team and even the international team. I think afterwards, the Americans attended a 7-course international cuisine dinner with the international side. I saw a video of Hideki Matsuyama's caddy has his entire body signed by the American Ryder Cup team. Sam Burns signed his name and then wrote, "Is your daddy?" This is on Matsuyama's caddy, dude. I don't even know if he speaks English. He probably was like, "It says he loves me." Just has no idea. I thought that was cool. Immelman started what? Immelman, the captain, walked in afterwards to a what? Immelman walked into the clubhouse afterwards just with a standing ovation from the international team that kind of moved him to tears almost. Just it's been a long, he was selected before COVID to be the captain. Obviously, Copenhagen's been 2 years in the making, and obviously it wasn't the result the internationals wanted, but I thought with how decimated their roster was, and we talked about that on a couple of shows, that they performed well, and I was pretty happy with it. Homa had an electric start. He chipped in for birdie, made a birdie on 18 to win his match. It was just electric, and he actually said, I think what was the quote of the week, especially in light of all the talk with all these guys going to live and whatnot. He said he talked with his wife after the feeling of winning a point and whatnot, that this is the type of stuff that money can't buy, which I think that's so true.
Sorry about the tail, guys.
Very true. And we're just trying something new with Tucker here, seeing if he does a little better, or if he's not caged up.
Oh, he's not caged up. Don't try to say I caged my fucking dog.
Well, we put up a baby gate.
We put up a baby gate, and I block him so he can go in my bedroom in the hallway that leads to my bedroom.
He has half the living room space, essentially, Tucker does.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm saying that's a good thing. It's not like he's combined.
Trying to be like, oh, cage him up. No, he's in a 4x4 cage, and he's locked up.
No.
Go.
It's okay, buddy.
You're okay.
Just let it ride. This show has been off the shit start. Our tripod's broken. Casey's in a horrible mood.
We're good. We're getting through it. One thing that I loved about Max Homa was it Saturday or I think it was Friday or Saturday on 18 when he hit a putt and literally just immediately turned around and walked away.
Yeah, he
Okay, he didn't immediately turn around.
No, but
it was like the ball was like within a foot, and he knew it was going in, and he turned around and celebrated. I love that from him.
Well, it's so funny because that clip's been so edited now to where like he hits the putt, it's like the Tiger Woods clip where he hits the putt, takes off his hat, and you're like,
that's why I said he does it like right after he putts it.
Yeah.
He hits the putt, and he turns around immediately yelling.
Right, yeah. I thought Homa was electric this week. I think he's definitely a player that could have played himself into the Ryder Cup this week.
Especially he went 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. Yep. Our boy Kiz, not the best showing, 0-2-1 on the week. That's okay. Well, let's just get into it. So before Casey's 2 picks, he took Cantley and Kisner as his Americans.
Yeah. I was gonna say and Matsuyama and I'm
as your internationals. Yep. So Cantley went.
I know you were gonna do it that way. I thought you were gonna stop and then go to yours.
Oh no, I was just sorry. So I should have said like these. Yeah. So Cantley, good pick. He went 3-1. Kiz, like we said, 0-2-1. Kiz, as it was quoted afterwards, saying that, well, they didn't pick me because I'm a good golfer. They picked me because I'm a good partier. And he basically told in the press conference, he was like, these guys can't hang with me.
I saw that.
He was like, these guys are he goes, this is the best group of golfers, but the worst group of partiers I've ever seen. I saw a clip from The Hangover of like the guy with the glasses waking up in the hotel, not knowing where he was. It was like Max Homa waking up in Kiz's hotel room this morning.
Oh, I saw a tweet today. Max Homa came out and said, he said, I am unwell.
Yeah.
And then JT replied back to it and said, retweet.
Yeah. I think one of the wives, it might have been Scotty Scheffler's wife, just tweeted it, quote tweeted it, and said too much champagne with like a puking emoji. It's like they
celebrated.
Yeah, they should have. So Matsuyama went 1-3-1, not a great pick. I'm 2-2-1. I had JT who went 4-1 on the week. I had Schauffele who went 3-0-1 on the week. Corey Connors who went 0-4, and then Tom Kim who went 2-3. So relatively pretty solid picks. I mean,
we were about even.
It's pretty even. Yeah.
Wait, I went what 4, 6, 4, 6, 8. I went 6, 8, and 3.
Yep.
You went 7, 9, 5.
9, 5, and 1, I think.
No. He had 3, 7, 8. 9, 8, and 1. You went 9, 8, and 1.
9, 8, and 1. Yeah, so I would say pretty close. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
And that's why I started adding up. I'm like, regardless, we just did it to see if we could guess who's going to play well. I don't think you would have guessed Matsuyama, who's like one of the
that's why I picked him. I was like, he's the best. He was the best international player on the team.
Yeah.
Or at least the one that was
most
ranked the highest. Yeah. Everyone kind of knew about.
Well, I was going to say, too, the most experienced, right? He has a Masters victory. You don't think he's going to choke. Didn't play well. Corey Connors, awful all week. He
had a good year this year. When you picked him, I was like, oh, that's a good pick. Because
he's a ball striking machine. Yeah. They just, you know how it is. Sometimes the course isn't set up for you, or it's just not your week. You know what I mean? That can happen. Also, a lot of pressure, I think, for some of these rookies on the international side, because you're already such heavy underdogs that it puts even more pressure on you to play well. Because if you can start to convince yourself, if I don't play my very best, we have no shot, and that can be tough.
Right.
We watched more President's Cup this week than I thought we were going to. Casey indulged me on Sunday. I was over here. We'll get into why I was over here. That's another segment. But we were able to put the President's Cup on after the Lions game, and it fell asleep during some of it. This is how golf is when it's on Sunday.
Yeah,
it just
dude.
asks for
I
it.
like what I do. What I love about the summertime, or like the spring and summer and like kind of fall. Well, not really fall because I watch football during the fall.
Right.
Like during the spring and summer is my Saturdays and Sundays. I call it my afternoon nap because I'm usually up at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe earlier, possibly. I'm up between 6 and 8 every Saturday and Sunday just because of I'm up that early during the week. So by 1 or 2 o'clock, I take about an hour or two nap. I throw golf on, I watch golf, and I take a nap, and I wake up, and golf is still on TV. Most of the time, it tricks me. So I'm watching a PGA event, and then all of a sudden,
the coverage will change.
And I'm watching a women golf, or I'm watching the Champions Tour, and I have old men on the screen. I'm like, I was not watching this tournament. I'm like I don't catch it for the first 20 minutes.
Oh, right. Well, you're like, oh, it's just
it's so golf.
This
I'm
guy
watching,
just, yeah.
And then I'm just like, that scoreboard looks a lot different than it did earlier. Those names really changed. And then I'll go on ESPN to see how those guys are doing. I'm like, oh, I'm not even watching the golf tournament I was watching earlier.
Dude, it happened to me this year where I literally fell asleep and I woke up and a Latin American tour event was playing. But I recognized like two of the guys on the leaderboard. I'm like, oh, wow, there must have been a whole stretch where these guys just played horrible. Because I think I recognized like two of the guys. I was like, oh, they could have been in the tournament that I was watching. And I'm like, wait, I didn't know there was a beach at this course. And I was like, I thought they were playing. And then, yeah, you do the same thing. And I'm like, oh, geez, you turn back like this makes way more sense.
No, it does. I turn about it. I'm like, huh. Those are the guys I remembered at the top of the leaderboard 2 hours ago.
Yeah. President's Cup was good. We'll see going forward if, like we talked about, if it switches to a mixed event. We'll have to keep our eye on that next year.
So hold on, before we get into this, we forgot to do this earlier. I will be right back.
Oh, okay.
You can get into it though.
Okay, but yeah, I'll just start laying the foundation. So we're gonna just give a little update on the Robert Sarver story, selling the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury. We hypothesized a little. Oh, I love what he's doing right now. Fuck yes, I needed it. Sorry. So we hypothesized a little last week about who could potentially buy the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury. So I did a little bit of research to kind of see what the rumors are being swirled around. So the last team to be sold was the Timberwolves in 2019. They sold for $1.5 billion to A-Rod and another guy. Can't remember. Sorry, I thought I had it written down. Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers in 2014 for $2 billion, and then the Rockets sold in 2017 for $2.2 billion. So why that's relevant? Just kind of give you an idea of what the market share is looking like. According to Forbes, the Suns are valued at $1.8 billion, but a lot of industry insiders think that they're going to track bids of at least $2.5 million. And partially the partial reason for that is because they're selling two teams, so they're selling both franchises, so it kind of bumps up the valuation a little bit. And the other idea is that this isn't. I don't want to name a fan base or a bad team, but the overall idea is both the Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury have strong fan bases, and they're both competitive teams with championship aspirations. So look for them to attract. There we go. Appreciate it, man. Cheers.
This is brought to you by Jameson. It's going to be a future sponsor.
Future sponsor. So were you able to halfway listen to kind of what I was going through?
Yeah, about the Sarver.
Yep. So what I was saying is that it sounds like they're valued at $1.8 billion. The Suns are, but because he's selling two franchises, they expect the valuation to move closer to at least $2.5 billion.
Oh, they're to combine them both.
Yeah, essentially, and they both have, I guess, good fan bases, and both the teams are ready to win. So who's going to buy the team and how exactly does it work? I thought this was pretty crazy. So in order to start the process of purchasing an NBA team, it starts with a 1 month long application and vetting process, and then a $1 million application fee, which I don't think you get that money back. I think it's like, here's $1 million, hopefully I get it.
That's insane.
Yeah, you better have pockets or be really confident that you're gonna yeah, because I think for anybody, $1 million, even if you're Mark Cuban, you're not just giving $1 million to give $1 million. You know what I mean? So then what happens after that is the NBA performs a thorough analysis of the prospective buyer's financial history, and that includes an examination of all their business dealings, their relationships, potential conflicts of interests, and then an examination of the buyer's personal history, which I'm sure
background check.
Yeah, which I'm sure that they probably scrub your social media, talk to people, making sure that you're not a piece of shit. Which is fine. And then a committee of current NBA owners ultimately determine who's going to buy the Suns. So if it comes down to you and me, it comes down to that committee, and they say, well, we think this guy fits better. I don't care. We want his. And it's not always about money. It's not always the highest bid wins. I guess that committee has quite the say. So who could buy? According to ESPN, former CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, Iger, could buy. He's never been public. He's never come out publicly and said he'd want to buy. But I guess ESPN reported that.
It's probably one of those things that they look at all these guys that have
the money to do it.
And they're somewhat tied to sports in a way to where they're just like,
he could be interested.
This guy can do it.
Yeah.
That guy can buy the team.
Yeah.
That guy has enough money. Let's choose him.
So one thing when I was reading about this, it said Bob Iger's net worth is, I want to say only. Don't trust me when I say only. This is just in comparison to something. Is only $650 million. So he would need a partner. But we talked about this, I think, last show or the show before. Very few of these dealings when buying sports teams nowadays are done with. It's usually a group. It's like
no one has this much money.
Well, it's also, you can protect your investment a little bit. Be like, I'll throw in 250. John's got 500. Casey will throw in 150, and then you kind of collectively own. And then usually it's kind of what happened with the Marlins. Derek Jeter didn't have a lot of the money. I think he did put in some of his own money when the deal sold. But his main thing was he just wanted to have enough interest so he could be the CEO. He's like, I don't care if I own majority of the team. I just want to own enough to where I can be in charge of the team.
Right.
So another guy is Larry Ellison. This dude's fucking loaded. He's a co-founder of the software maker Oracle Arena. I think that's where the Warriors play.
Yep.
So they've obviously got money. So this is kind of funny. He's long wanted to own an NBA franchise. In 2010, he offered $350 million to buy the New Orleans Hornets, but he was outbid by the late Tom Benson, who also owned the Saints. He probably had a lot of goodwill in that town, and they were probably like, dude, he already owns the Saints. Might as well get in the Pelicans. It just makes sense. But I guess they ended up being the Pelicans. But yeah. So then in 2011, a year later, he ups his bid to $450 million to try to buy the Warriors. That didn't happen. And then in 2012, he tried to buy the Memphis Grizzlies. He ended up being one of the final two people there, and then it ended up going the other way. He has the money, though. His net worth is $94 billion. So I don't know why he's cheaping out on these offers to buy these teams, dude. If you're not getting them, I'd be like, I'll give you $1 billion then.
Right.
Who's going to outbid me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want one that bad, quit being low. Only $350.
You have enough money, Jesus, dude. You have 90. You're worth 94 billion.
Like, how bad do you really want it? You know what I mean?
Are you really going to spend that much money in your life?
No. I got two interesting ones to finish this out. Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Fuck him.
He told the Las Vegas Review Journal.
I'll box Floyd. I'll beat his ass. Floyd Money Mayweather. I'll beat his ass Mayweather.
Dude's had one sip of Jameson and he's already talked about how he's gonna beat up Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, fuck up.
It's been a long day, fellas. Jesus. I guess he told the Las Vegas Review Journal in June that he wanted to buy an NBA team. Initially, his thought was a team that comes to Las Vegas is what he'd be interested in.
Expansion team. I heard that could be a possibility.
I guess they're adding two. They want one in Las Vegas and Seattle.
That's what I was saying.
And then he followed it up with saying if it doesn't happen in Las Vegas, he wants to buy an NBA team by any means necessary. And apparently at the start of 2022, he already had a team together. So this is something he's taken seriously.
But is this one of those things? Do you buy the Suns or do you take that chance on? Okay, well, what if the NBA does expand to Las Vegas?
So
you want to own the whatever Vegas team that is.
So what my gut tells me is that if you want to own a team, you have to jump at the first instance and every instance, because there's what we talk about this all the time. There's only so many teams, right? There's only 30 NBA teams. Yes, there's a chance it could expand to 32. But until that happens, when you have the chance to buy one of 30, you have to jump on it, because a lot of these, they don't, I mean, it's not all that, like the last one was in 2019, but before that, it was 5 years before that. These teams don't change hands all that often. So I think if you're Floyd, you jump on it. If you get the Suns and all of a sudden one becomes available in Las Vegas, well, you know what? Phoenix isn't that bad of an area either, and you have a chance to win a championship.
Right.
The last one is Shaq. Shaq expressed interest in buying the Orlando Magic also this past June. He said it on his podcast. He said he would partner with former teammate Dennis Scott. I guess he was quoted saying, like, oh, we got the money, don't worry about the money. And basically was telling the DeVos family that owns the Magic, like, hey, if you become interested in selling, please sell it to me, because I want to take them to the next level. I could see Shaq being an NBA owner. He's been very successful in his off the court business dealings. He owns like 1,000 restaurants, and I just think he'd be a good face. You know what I mean? He just seems to be, everything he touches turns to gold. So that was like the little research I could do. I still think it's going to take some time for some more definite facts to come out about who could buy, but I'd like to see Money Mayweather on a team. I bet there'd be like a strip club inside the stadium.
There might be.
You know what I mean?
There might be.
Also, before we get to our top five, a couple other things regarding the Sarver story. I read an article today, Case. I guess the teams were back from Media Day this week, or today. I think it was today. Not good. Devin Booker had some pretty profound things to say. He basically came out and said, like, that's not the Robert Sarver I know. He goes, he's never treated me that way. He's never been racist towards me. And he goes, that just sucks. Because he's like, I'm not discounting or being, insensitive to the experiences other people had. He goes, that just shows you they really don't know people sometimes. And I guess Media Day, which for most people, especially a team like the Suns, who's coming off like a 63-win season, that's hype. Like, you're back in the lab, like you're ready to go back and try to win a title. I guess it was pretty somber there. The GM, I was reading his quotes. It sounds like, I mean, he's like, am I even going to be around? Like, when a new owner comes, are they going to just fire me and get someone new?
What's going to happen when the new owner comes? Are we all done?
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a tale of two sides for the Phoenix Suns here. They're either going to come together and rally around this as like a unit, be like, fuck him, we don't need him, we will win without it, or it's going to be too big of a distraction all year and it's, they're going to be mediocre. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Right.
I'm kind of do you like the Suns? You hate Chris Paul, right?
No, I don't mind Chris Paul.
I thought you hated Chris Paul for some reason.
There's only one person I
stop, dude. That's not why I brought this up.
Is fucking LeBron James. He is easily one of the worst players in NBA history. I do not like him. He is a flopper. He is a crybaby. He is a little crybaby ass bitch. That's what LeBron is. Thanks for bringing that up, though.
Dude, are you good? Are you fucking good? I'm editing that part out.
Okay.
So for some reason I thought you didn't like Chris Paul.
No, I like Chris Paul. I hate LeBron.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep a lookout on the Suns this year. I guess my prediction is, I think they're too good. I bet they're still good. I bet they're still decent.
They'll still be decent.
Yeah. Are we doing this next or this next?
I would say this next.
And then right before we go.
Unless you want to save that for the very end.
We can do that at the very end.
Yeah,
I like that at the very end. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, cool. All right, guys, moving into our next part of the show.
Turning my list.
Top five. Do we have music for this? I don't know if I had music for the last time. Oh, new segment, so I'll try to find some music for this one. Top five. Casey, what are we doing a top five of this time?
Top five of... jerseys. We're doing college football jerseys.
Oh, you just typed what you did last time?
Yeah.
I was going to say, Casey, we just did that one.
We're doing college football jerseys. Let's do rock, paper, scissors to see who wins.
Cue the Western music. All right. That's the one.
That's the one.
Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ooh. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. This is crazy. All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, no. Fuck. All right.
I'm going one.
One.
You know what? I'm letting you go one. I'm going to let you go one.
No, you won.
One.
I don't want. No, I want. I want the last two. Yep.
You
nope.
go one. No,
not
I
happening.
get to pick the order. That was what
No.
that was for.
No. We.
That's the you get to pick the order.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You won. You go first.
Nope. You go first.
Not
You go
happening.
first. You go first.
No. Well, why? Because you know why? Because one's easy, but the fallout's worse.
You go one.
Texas Longhorns. 1-1.
Fuck. I actually didn't think you were gonna pick that.
Yep. I got Texas Longhorns at my 1-1. The reason, pretty simple. Burnt orange, hard to beat. The logo's fantastic. Should we tell them real quick?
I should have won 1-1.
I told you. You should have. Should we tell them real quick? So we're not picking a specific jersey. It's just like
You get both home and away.
pretty much they're both home and away.
Home and away. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I just wanted them to
home and
know
away,
that we're
that's
not
it.
like picking specifically. Yeah, because we just thought that would be too complicated.
Yeah.
So I got Longhorns with
I
1-1.
didn't think you were gonna do that.
Where's the pen at?
I thought you were gonna do something stupid. Okay,
Like
so
what, Michigan?
yeah.
Well, I guess my track record isn't great in these
I know.
so
I thought
far.
you were gonna. That's why I was like, I'll let him pick because he's gonna do something stupid like Michigan or Ohio State or Bama, and he's gonna leave Texas with me. God damn it. Okay, my 1-1.
Or 1-2.
My 1-2. I'm gonna go Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
It's good.
The gold helmet, just everything about him, just fantastic. I'm going Notre Dame, and then my second pick, I'm gonna go Penn State.
Damn, that's a great pick.
Penn State number 2.
What about Penn State do you like so much? They're just classic.
Dude, it's
dude.
just a classic jersey. Like when you look at it and you're just watching the game, it's just classic, and I just love them. It's just, and especially for some reason, I love when they have in a complete white-out jersey.
Yeah.
White helmet, white jersey, white pants, white shoes or cleats. I love everything about Penn State.
God, this is tough now. I got quite the list here. I'm going to go Florida State.
That's a good one. That's a really
2-2.
good one.
I like Florida State. I like just their colors. I think that the way they incorporate the arrow and everything, and just kind of like there's just something about it. I don't know. I like their jerseys a lot. And 3-1, I'm going Michigan. That's too easy.
That's such a stupid jersey.
That's so good. The winged helmet is iconic. Arguably the best jersey in college football.
No.
Maize and blue.
Then why didn't you pick them 1-1?
Because I knew you weren't.
they were-
I
if
could
they
have
were-
waited till the end and you wouldn't have touched them.
I would have picked them. I was going to pick them 1-2.
Right, so it can't be that bad of a pick then. If you were going to pick them, it can't be that bad of a
I
pick.
wasn't going to pick them. I just did wanted Texas. I just wanted Texas bad. So you had 2 horrible picks.
Shut the fuck up. Good cut. Roll the tape. Just said that's a good pick.
2 horrible picks.
Shut up, Case.
So it's my turn.
Yeah, 3-2 and 4-1.
I'm gonna go Bama. Classic jersey.
Yeah, Bama's really good.
To me, that's when you think of college football, you think of an Alabama jersey.
Yep, I agree.
My 4th pick.
There's so many good ones on the board still.
I know. I'm gonna go USC.
That's really good.
I'm gonna go USC. Even though I'm a Notre Dame fan, I love the USC jersey. The red with the yellow,
with the fucking Trojan, dude. It's
Trojan,
so good.
It's just so iconic and just classic. That's another one. When you think of college football, like especially West Coast football, you think of USC football. So those are my next 2. What are yours?
So I get 4-2 and 5-1, right?
Yeah, now you're going on your last 2.
Okay. This is hard.
There's a lot still on the board. Like
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like it's hard because I have some that I know I personally like.
Damn, I mean, if they're in your top 5, okay, fuck them. Okay, I like.
No, I know, but
we like our viewers.
See, and this is why I like doing this top 5 segment because there's 2 ways I'm looking at it. There's like
sell them.
Well, exactly. You got to sell them, but I'm
like Central. Pick Central.
No, it's not that. I might have had them written down at one point. I was like, I can't. But I was gonna say because there's like I like certain ones because they look sweet. Then there's certain ones that I like because of like the history and like that's like, with Bama. There's nothing special about Bama's uniform, but when you look, they're so clean and so historical that they're cool because of that.
The number on the helmet, just fucking cool. Everything about them is cool.
I got Miami Hurricanes.
That's a good one. That's a really good one there.
There's a way they can make green and orange work. I like the U. Their orange jerseys are sweet. I know we're just doing home and away, but I'm just saying they're collective. I just there's something about the Hurricanes.
That's their home jersey.
Is orange their home? I wasn't sure if it was that or anyway. They just got a good collection of jerseys there. I like that one a lot. And my last one, I'm between two.
I'm honestly surprised this one's not off the board, even though if they fall to me, I'm not picking them.
I gotta. Oh my God. I'm going North Carolina.
I had a feeling you were going to do that. I had a feeling just the powdered blue.
I love those jerseys so much. We talked about this over the weekend. I wanted to pick them higher, and I just was like, no, I'll wait. That, to me, is one of the cleanest home and away uniforms of all time. I love the powder blue and the white. It looks really nice.
I'm in a toss-up here. I have 3 on my list I want to pick.
Yeah, I was tough. I was
1, 2, or 3.
2.
Florida.
That's a good one.
Florida Gators. I love the blue and I love the orange. I think they're fucking clean. I think they're one of the cleanest jerseys in college football. They were actually the first team on my list that I listed was Florida.
Okay, so you went with Notre Dame, Penn State, Bama, USC, Florida. I rocked with Texas, Florida State, Michigan, Miami, and North Carolina. Casey, since we both have a ton, we want to do some honorable mentions here.
We're going to definitely do some honorable mentions.
I got one that's going to shock you, I think.
So let's just get off the easy one. Oregon is on my honorable mention. I'm surprised that they weren't.
Dude, I hate how gimmicky they got with it.
So do I. I mean, it's just
like 40 million combinations.
I'd say that one more have been like almost a pander pick.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like, okay, well, obviously people love Oregon's jersey, so I'm just going to pick Oregon just so people vote for me.
Clemson,
that's another good one. Ohio State, just classic.
Couldn't pick them, but yeah, they're
I
good.
Didn't pick them.
They're good jerseys, though. The helmets, especially with the stickers, yeah,
and all that.
SMU's a good one. I had Ole Miss on there.
Ole Miss is another good one.
What about Georgia? Yeah, Georgia's fine.
Just because I love the red and black, and honestly, I think they pull it off very well. Not a lot of teams pull off a red very well.
I got UCLA has fire uniforms.
Tennessee.
I have Tennessee on
Michigan
here.
State.
I didn't put State on here, but I don't mind it. What do you think about this? Is going to be one that's a little off the wall. Marshall.
No, I almost put them on my list.
The Herd is so fire, dude.
I love the Herd jerseys. What's another one that I almost put on the list, but I didn't, was Boston College.
Yep, those are really good.
I just seem like teams that have nothing on their helmet. I just feel like those are classic helmets.
Yeah. Were you surprised LSU didn't make either of our lists?
No, I have LSU on here. I love the purple and yellow, or they're purple and yellow, right?
Yeah.
I just don't see them as a top 5.
Yeah. What about Washington? I love the purple, gold, and black.
I love the purple and gold. I like it a lot.
I think that, and again, this is going down to like I like their color combinations, but I'm not like I don't love their uniforms. But they have put out some things in this past, especially when Chris Peterson was there. They had like a matte black helmet, and it was like a dark purple. It was just a sick uniform.
Oklahoma, you can say, is up
classic. Same with Nebraska, just classic.
Yep.
I also had Auburn on my list.
Yep.
And then Arizona State.
I was looking like they were like Iowa. I'm like, fuck Iowa.
Dude, Iowa's on every list I read. I said, those uniforms are trash.
Fuck Iowa. Are you serious?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I thought, yeah, I saw that. Iowa's on.
Don't worry about some fucking planting some corn.
I also had, no, that'd be the Cornhuskers.
Oh yeah, that'll be Nebraska.
You say Iowa. Go worry about the middle.
Go worry about making Bush light.
Love that. San Diego State I had on mine because they have cool Aztec themed like shit on their jerseys that take like the detailing's really good.
Eastern Michigan, those are some sweet jerseys. I would say best in the MAC. Western's up there too, second best in the MAC.
That's just cap. Fucking Western's uniforms are ass. They have like a shit brown, and their new logo's atrocious. Eastern sucks. Central clearly has the best fucking maroon and gold, dude. Are you good? But yeah, that's mine. We'll put ours in the description. Be sure to comment below what your top 5 is and take a vote to see who had the best.
I think I easily won this one.
I don't know. I think this one's gonna be close. Closer than last week.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot closer than last week.
But right now, before we finish the segment, should be on the screen right now. You'll see Casey's top 5 on his side of the screen. My top 5 will be on my side of the screen. As we pick, they should have like come up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If not, then I got really lazy editing and ended up being a late night. Sorry about that. Gonna do my best to put them on, but regardless, they'll be in the description. But yeah, that's our top 5. Also, be sure to comment below for what your next, what the next top 5 you guys want to see for next Tuesday.
Yeah, guys, we have a running list on topics that we're doing right now. Let me move that one down.
What we are going to try to do while Casey not completes, but change his list real quick, is we're going to try to avoid any non-sports top 5s until after football season,
like,
just because that's when it'll be kind of a dead
football-related stuff.
Right, yeah, just because we're going to enter a dead period after February where it's like we just need to save some of them for then.
Yeah, I mean, because like especially okay, you can only do so many tops of baseball or golf or whatever during the summertime, so that's when we'll probably bring out like the top 5 barbecue foods. Top 5 condiments, top 5 dog breeds. Golden Retrievers, obviously, one. Australian Shepherds, obviously,
top 5 M&M flavors.
Top 5 M&M flavors.
Since each color is a different flavor.
Yeah, and each color is a different flavor, man. I love the blue M&Ms. Dude, blue M&Ms.
It just hits
amazing.
different.
Oh no, I agree.
Blue
M&Ms hit differently, and so do the green ones. I love the blue and green M&Ms.
Also, historically, the green M&M's the strongest M&M.
The green M&M is the strongest M&M. I have proven that a fact. I had an M&M contest a couple weeks ago. Took 2 M&Ms, crushed them together. Whatever one cracked first, that one lost the battle, and I ate it. So I did a 24 M&M challenge. I think it was 3 of each color or something like that. Green ended up winning.
Green superior.
Congratulations, Green.
Clap it out for green M&Ms.
Top M&M flavor. Top M&M flavor.
All right, cool. Well, that concludes our top 5. I think it's time. Should we get into our college football Week 4 recap?
Let's do that. This next game,
this is wild.
Was a wild game. I didn't watch any of it. I was just scrolling through. I think I was on Facebook one day.
I don't think half the country watched this game. It's not even on TV.
Right. So I was just scrolling through Facebook, and I saw Stephen F. Austin beats Warner 98-0. So I'm like, whoa. Back the fuck up.
He thought it was a typo.
This did not happen. They probably typoed that in. They meant to do something, or this is no. That did not happen. I watched the highlights. Oh my God. Like,
wild.
Guys were 20 yards wide open. It was a ridiculous game. So I didn't even hear of this Warner College. They are an NAIA school. They're also a member of the NCCAA, the National Christian College Athletic Association.
Well, I hate to say it, but God was not on their side in this one.
Fucking mouthful.
Yeah, well.
Sorry for the language after saying that, but that's a mouthful.
You know, just saying, Jesus Christ was nowhere to be found.
Literally. So, I mean, the highlights of this game was just ridiculous. Stephen F. Austin is a Division I team, and they just absolutely killed them. They scored every single possession. They scored 10 touchdowns on offense, 2 field goals, had 2 fumble recovery touchdowns, a punt return touchdown, and a safety. When they scored their last touchdown, they got to 98.
They went for 2?
They tried to go for 2 to get 100.
So fucked up.
If I'm that Warner coach, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm tired. Or if I do, I'm punching you in your fucking face.
No, dude, God would hate that. You can't do that.
4 QBs played for SFA. They combined 29 for 35, 478 yards, 8 TDs.
Dude, Jesus. You know, I kind of fucking love that they try to get to 100. I fucking love it.
I would have done the same thing, honestly. Like, hey, let's do it.
Just
they obviously failed the 2-point conversion to get to 100, but I find that funny. This was like the first time that this has happened since the 70s or 80s or 60s.
Dude, can you imagine? Like
imagine that bus ride home. Like, we just got our ass kicked.
This is why I'm telling you there just needs to be a mercy rule in college sports. No fucking way. I know in high school, I don't think it's like this in college, but in high school, yeah, to prevent shit like this from happening because it's like bad sportsmanship, they just do a running clock. It's like, dude, you're only going to, you won't even have time to do it.
This SFA team's up 72-0 or 70-something, and they're still, it's like 2nd and 2 and they're passing the ball. Running a play action and scoring a touchdown. Like, why are you doing that?
You think it got to the point where the players like, coach wants us to run it, but Steve, you go deep. Jeremy, you go deep. They can't guard you.
Or they're in the locker room at halftime, and his coach is like, "Hey, fellas,
let's get 100.
You guys want to hit 100?
Yeah, let's get 100. Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, I know. So like we playing travel baseball and shit growing up. We didn't give a fuck. Like I've always been raised. If you don't like it, stop it. Score as many points as you can. And I'll never forget. I don't know, probably 2 years before I made it to juniors, or the year before I made it to juniors. One of the Lincoln teams scored like 30. They beat Ypsi National, who was like our fucking rival, like 31 to something, right? And it came our turn. We had a really good team my last year playing in the districts, and we were outscoring people in districts at this point, like 110 to 4 runs. I mean, we won district. We should have won. Well, we go to play Ypsi National. We're up 28-0 at the top of the 3rd inning with no outs and the bases loaded, and they just literally pulled their team off the field. Pretty much told my dad to go fuck himself, and they left the tournament. Yeah, so I'm all for running up the score. If you don't, I mean, it does get to the
one time I got my ass whooped in a soccer game. So back, I'm like 8 or 9. We're playing in this tournament, like, and it was like a really good tournament.
Well, in soccer too, don't you have like kids that are like younger that are really good?
Well, yeah, I think I'm 8, and like I was playing up into like a U10 league.
Yeah.
And like we were playing this premier team, and we're not a premier team, and dude, we lost 20-0.
In soccer? That would have sucked.
Like, I remember there was this one dude, like there was these two brothers that just completely demolished our entire team, just dribbling in between everyone. And I just remember, like, my dad was like, next time we play like that club again, we're gonna kick the shit out of them. Yeah. Just because, I mean, my dad coached me, and like he wasn't the dude to run up to score. He was like because we had some really good teams back in the day. Like one year in 10 games, I think we allowed 3 goals, or 4 goals, something like that. So it was like we scored 50 or 60 goals this season, and like. So there was games where I remember, like, there was one time we're up like 6-0 or whatever. My dad's like, okay, well, you guys have to complete 5 passes before you score.
Yeah, because Kevin's a good guy, and like I get
shit
that.
Like that.
I think the reason why my dad wanted to blow out Ypsi National so bad is because they historically growing up they had beat us every year.
I think it depended on the team we played. Like, when we played Canton teams, it was more of a fuck them, let's do it.
The year before they had mercied us in districts, and we scored a run on a sack fly, and their coach came out to be like, hey, he left early. They were already up by like 15. So my dad was like, dude, what do you care about one sack fly? Why are you arguing with the umpires? The Ypsi National coach then tried to fight one of the umpires there, got kicked out. It was like cops got called. So I think we kind of went into that game. Like, when we have the opportunity to score 30 runs and set Lincoln's record, we're going to do it just because of what happened last year. But I don't know, man. I know that there's been stories, especially like it seems like it happens in basketball a lot, where you have a team that blows another team out, especially in youth basketball. There was a coach that got fired after beating a girls' high school coach. They won by like 110 points, and the AD fired him the next day. And he was like, "What do you want me to do? Tell the girls just to not like
shoot and miss?
Yeah, like I can't teach them.
Tell them to stop me. Teach the other team to fucking
I
stop
don't,
me.
I'm on both sides of that.
mean,
Like, I can
okay.
see why it's unsportsmanlike, but also
it also depends on the situation. Like, okay,
that's fucking ridiculous.
That is funny as hell. Baseball's different. If you're intentionally sending guys,
I'll say you can go
around-
station to station. Like,
yeah,
if you,
I mean, okay, what are you gonna do? Tell your guys to just you're up 30 runs, just stand in the box and just take it. No, we're gonna play the game, but I'm not gonna take the extra effort.
we're not stealing
And then,
bases.
we have a pop fly to center field. Okay, I might keep my runner at third.
Yeah, right. I get that.
I'm not gonna. Okay, if I have a single to center field, I'm not gonna force my guy to go home. If it's gonna be close, I'm gonna tell him to wait at third and wait until we get the next single. Then he's gonna score then.
So there is something too, especially in youth sports where mercies are a thing. Like I when I've umpired, I've seen coaches no problem. When you get up until you reach the mercy limit, you're sitting everyone because a lot of it can implicate pitching because there's pitching restrictions. So if you can win in 2, 3, or 4 innings versus having to play 5 innings, you save an inning for your guy and he might be able to pitch the next game now.
Right.
So some of that, it does get down to like, okay, once we hit 15, then we're done. And then it's like, I've literally seen coaches like where they're like, hey, we could literally bat this entire inning, and he's been like telling his kid like, hey, if you got on base, just run and stop halfway between second and third and let him tag you out. And the other coaches get annoyed because it feels like you're showing up the other team being like, this is the only way we can get out of the inning is for you to let yourself tag us. So I think there's both sides of it. Although this is crazy. You texted me about this and I didn't believe you.
What
that they went for 2 to get to 100.
I looked it up. I was like, I wonder how close they got to 100. Like what was happening. I got to their last touchdown and it said failed 2-point conversion. I'm like, wait, what the fuck does that say? And it literally said failed 2-point conversion. They went for 2 to try to get to 100.
That's insane.
It's insane, completely insane. Like like you said, I mean, the way into football, the way to do it is just just run the ball 3 plays. If they can't stop the run, like Michigan that 1 year against Rutgers, when they put up 70 something points. They had how many rushing touchdowns? 9?
Yeah, and I don't know that they attempted a pass after 6 minutes in the second half.
At that point, what are you going to do? Tell your guy, okay, he has a free run. Okay, just run out of bounds.
Also, football gets innately dangerous when you're not trying. If you're only going half speed and the other team's you can get hurt. And
you can get really hurt. So,
I don't know. Also, I don't know if you mentioned this. You might have at the beginning. It's not like SF Austin played their starting quarterback the entire game.
They played 4 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, so
they had 4 quarterbacks that combined what? They threw the ball 35 times.
Which that's not horrible. It's not like they passed it 70 times a game.
No, it's just when you're up 70 points, don't fucking pass the ball.
Yeah.
At that point, just run the ball every time. I get you're just showing that you're just kind of giving it to the other team, but you're not making it obvious.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking up an article about it. Nothing to add though.
No, it was wild when I saw that. I mean, dude,
look
at these highlights.
Dude, I know
these highlights are insane. It was the first play. I think the first touchdown. There was no Warner player within 20 to 30 yards of this SFA guy. He was wide open. Like you could have easily hit the pass.
I'm just curious about what Warner went last year.
Oh, I don't know. They're an NAIA team.
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna look at it right here. Let's see their football. I want do you think that are they even competitive in their own division?
I don't know.
All right, so they lost. My God, dude.
They got their ass whooped this
year. Dude. They started the season off with a 7-44 loss, a 3-52 loss, 22-49 loss, and 0-98 loss. Needless to say, I think Weber's gotta go to the chapel and pray and hope that they can get better.
Yeah, they're the Warner Royals.
Well, they're royally bad.
Yeah, I think it says they're a private school.
Yeah, they are. All NAI schools are private.
Are they?
Yeah. Pretty sure. But okay. Ava Maria, they send me shit for law school all the time. Some bullshit. Sorry, go ahead.
Moving on to the next game, number 22, Texas, heading to Texas Tech. Texas Tech gets their first win in Lubbock since 2008. They win 37-34 in OT.
First home win against Texas since 2008.
Yeah, first home win against Texas in Lubbock since 2008, and that was the Michael Crabtree game that we talked about on Thursday or on Friday's episode.
It's another thing. It does look like this could be the Longhorns' last visit to Lubbock for the foreseeable future with their SEC departure on the horizon.
Oh yeah.
So they'll
have next year and just next year. Cause I think 24 is when they go.
Yeah, but it's gonna be at Texas. Yeah, so this will be the last time they play in Lubbock for a bit, unless they decide to schedule that non-conference.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What was it again? The Longhorn Showdown or the Lone Star Showdown?
The Lone Star Showdown. I wonder how they're gonna do that though. Well, yeah, because honestly, they would have Texas Tech, Baylor, because they don't play A&M anymore.
Right. It ended up being a good game. I think I don't remember. This was a game we talked about early on Thursday, so I don't really remember where we talked about it, but what we said about it.
Well,
I think we both
took Texas points and the over in the. I think the over hit.
The over hit.
Texas obviously didn't cover 7 because they lost. But the interesting thing, the police are looking for a guy, a Texas Tech fan.
I saw this
so Texas Tech fans.
They stormed the
field. Okay, like you should. You beat. This is your first time beating Texas at home in 12 years. Yeah. So okay, good for you. They're a ranked team.
14 years.
14 years. Yeah, I did that.
Right?
No, 2012 or 2008. 22. That's 12. No, that is 14. That is 14. Sorry,
you're good.
I did the math wrong.
Long day, long week.
Well, yeah,
it's Monday.
Yeah, long week already, and it's only Monday. But. So
power is out to start the show.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna talk about that in a second. So
tripods broken.
So the Texas Tech storms the field, and one of their fans just completely annihilates.
Blindsides this guy.
Texas is just walking off the field. This dude just comes up and just shoves this Texas guy.
And this wasn't like a drunk fan, and it was chaos. He could have avoided the player easily.
Oh, 100%.
It was like he decided that he was going to do something stupid.
And he took it.
Yeah,
because he was like, "There's no one's recording." Guess what? They got you, bud.
Yeah,
they got you.
Yeah, this seems to be a continued trend for fans getting involved in things following games. I know, like in NFL, not this most recent week, but the week before that, they were looking for a fan that allegedly slapped Kyler Murray. This seems like fans have just been.
They're gonna get to a point, especially now, because I feel like over the past 5 or 6 years. There's been a lot of fans and players getting into it. Fans possibly trying to touch players. Are we going to get to a point to where we're going to have a fucking glass fence in front of us?
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not, because I think that especially in college sports, rushing the court or rushing the field is one of the coolest things.
No, especially if you beat a team, first time beating a team in a while, or if you beat a Bama at home, a top 10 team at home. Storm the field, especially if your team is not ranked.
Yep, and I think it makes sense too. I know, when Michigan beat Ohio State last year, that scene at the Big House when 110,000 people rushed the field. And granted, I know Michigan, with how much money and how historically good their program is, maybe act like you've been there before. To me, though, those scenes are they're bone chilling.
In Michigan's aspect, or in the Michigan's point, and I am going to have Michigan's back there.
In their defense, yeah.
In their defense. I mean, I'm not throwing a shot at them right now.
It's been 16 years.
It was so long since you've beaten Ohio State, and most likely beating them at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know. And that's all I'm saying is that scene was so bone-chilling to me, where it was this is what I love about college sports. And, I hope situations like this don't ruin it in the future.
Right.
My first ever CMU game, we beat New Hampshire on a field goal in overtime. We rushed the field. That's so embarrassing to say.
Are you serious?
We were favorited and still rushed the field.
Why?
After. I don't know, because we were dumb and young. It's my first game ever, and I was like, "Hey, we should all rush the field." Everyone in the super was like, "Yeah, let's do it." It's 37 of us there for the game, all waiting onto the field. The AD was like, "What are you guys doing? We were favored to win by 12,
and we only won by 10." Hey, we wanted to rush the field.
Yeah. No, I think we won by 3. It was the last minute field goal in overtime.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But is Texas Tech legit?
Yeah, so
Red Raiders moved to 3-1.
Wins over number 25 Houston, number 22 Texas, and then their only loss was on the road to number 16 NC State.
That's a tough place to play.
Yeah, well, especially NC State, like supposed to be pretty decent this year.
They were talking about them possibly being a
playoff team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say the Red Raiders are one of those teams this year that you probably don't want to play, especially at home. Texas Tech gets after it, as we can see here. I don't know. I don't know what the road looks forward for Texas Tech. I mean, obviously they don't. They play in the Big 12. Not a lot of defense probably gonna be played. They're gonna have to score some points. What do you think the road looks like for Texas?
See, this is a tough loss for them
because I think,
I think that this is one of those losses that like this Texas team is going to possibly drop to like a 6-6, possibly 5-7 team now.
Yeah, it sucks because it felt like the world was their oyster per se after that close loss to Bama. That loss felt like a win. I mean, shit, they lost the game and moved into the top 25 after that, and then they have a gutsy performance against UTSA last week, and they pull out the victory after what could have been a letdown spot because they were disappointed they didn't beat Texas, and come here and to lose by 3 in overtime. That's tough. I want Texas to be back so bad. Best uniforms in college football, as I previously have stated.
I'm so pissed off about that still. I can't get over. That's just how my day's fucking been.
Well, that's what you get for letting me have the pick.
But moving on.
Yep, let's move on to the next one. Clemson at number 21 Wake Forest.
Number 5 Clemson heading to number 21 Wake Forest. You forgot to add the number 5 Clemson there.
Yep, so number 5 Clemson. Number 5 Clemson. Casey's a pussy. Number 5 Clemson at 21 Wake Forest.
This was a good game.
It's a banger of a game.
Clemson won 51-45 in double OT. Sam Hartman.
Yep.
The Wake Forest QB had a game. 20
Yep.
of 29, 337 yards, 6 TDs. That was his first career game.
No picks either.
Yeah, no picks. First career game with 6 TDs.
That's this game was everything people thought it was going to be. I think.
There was these Clemson receivers won Clemson that game.
You think so?
Oh, they were making plays left and right. They were going up, making amazing catches. I mean, I don't think DJ's a good quarterback, but he put them in spots to where only Clemson receivers can get them, and they were going up there and they were catching them.
Yeah, I mean, DJ finished Ugalilele, DJ Ugalilele, 26 of 41, 371 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Had a decent game. I think everyone would like to see that completion percentage be a little higher. It was a shootout, man. I mean, it really was. Back and forth. I really wanted Wake Forest to pull it out. I had the Clemson over, or I had the over in this game, which hit. And then I did have Clemson -7. Casey took the points. So good.
Shit, Clemson almost hit the over by themselves.
Yeah. I think the over was at 54.5.
55.5.
Yeah. So
who was that guy's dad?
Oh, the linebacker for Clemson's dad, I think Brian Breesy, I think
walking up and down the
dude, yeah. So after Clemson won the game, he was walking up and down the fucking like the stairs in the stadium. He was just telling them all, "Get out! Get the fuck out of here!" And it's like, dude, you're at Wake Forest.
They'll beat your ass.
No, but he's jacked, dude. It looked like, yeah, dude. And he was as animated as I've seen a fan be, and I guess it turns out that he's future, NFL draft pick Brian Breesy's dad, and he was ecstatic to say the least. He letting the Wake Forest fans know that they ended up, that they were the losers in that one. Dabo improves to undefeated against Wake Forest in his career still. Seems to have their numbers. I felt for Wake Forest's head coach. It seemed like this is one of the most talented teams he's had. Especially coming in a year where people aren't exactly sure about what type of Clemson team we're going to have or going to see going forward. Kind of felt for him, man. After the game, him and Dabo had quite the embrace. It seems like there's quite a lot of respect there. And God, man, it would have just been good to see fucking Clemson finally drop a game because I think we both aren't big believers on them at 5.
I'm not a Clemson fan at all.
Yeah, so
I think they're overrated at 5.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, man, I thought Clemson was going to pull it out, but my heart wanted Wake Forest to get the upset here. It will be interesting to see. I don't have this note here about how far Wake Forest fell or if they fell at all. My gut would.
I think they fell out of the top 25.
You think out of the top? So I wasn't sure. I know we had talked about it. I just didn't have the note right in front of me. And whether or not this would kick them out of the top 25, there was quite a bit of movement.
No, they only dropped to 22.
22. I was going to say, it's hard when you play that well to say like whether or not
to a top 5 team and you lost in double OT.
Right.
To them, so you obviously played a top 5 team good, so you shouldn't have dropped that far.
Right. So we'll keep an eye on Wake going forward. I do think this is a Wake Forest team that could cause some problems in the ACC this year, even with the loss. If they run the table going forward, who knows? If you win the ACC, if they would beat them in the championship, I don't know if they're on the same side division. I have to look that up. But regardless, I'm not sure. We'll see what the Wake Forest Deacons look like going forward. Clemson sneaks out another one, and for me, I guess they remain on fraud alert.
They're in the same conference.
So they won't be able to play each other at the end.
You would have to have some Clemson losses up top.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see, but they could still be a team that you don't want to play. Maryland at number 4, Michigan. Sheesh.
Michigan wins a close one, 34-27. Blake Corum had himself a game, career high carries, 30 carries, 243 yards with 2 TDs. He is the reason Michigan won this game. But this was a game that Michigan needed.
Yeah, I agree.
For them going forward because you need, especially get you a team like Maryland that you can just take over the game whenever, if you needed to, and all that to help your team later on. Because if this
they finally face some adversity.
Yes.
Yeah.
This happens against Ohio State, you're going to get whooped.
I agree. I thought there was several things that annoyed me about this game. One, I didn't love the play calling for J.J. McCarthy. I thought they didn't necessarily put him in the best position. It was obvious from the jump that Michigan could run the ball with Blake Corum, and they just kind of refused to just win the game that way. JJ was kind of in trouble all day. He looked a little timid back there, just not letting some throws loose. He held on the ball several times for longer than he should have.
Didn't Maryland just drop like 6 or 7 in the coverage?
And this is what Jay's going to have to expect. They rushed 4, dropped 7.
And that's the way to beat Michigan.
That's how a lot of defenses are moving like that, or it's that bend but don't break. We're going to give up a lot of passing yards in between the sticks and stuff, but once you get down to the red zone, it's like they just force you to kick a field goal.
I would say the key to beat Michigan is if you stop that running game and you, like you said, you drop a lot back in the coverage to put that ball into JJ's hands, Michigan is going to lose a game or two. Well, I'm not saying this is not like a knock on JJ, but it's just I don't think he has that experience to where it's like, okay, if you have a good team that punches you in the mouth, that makes sure it's like, okay, well, we're going to make JJ beat us.
Yeah, I was going to say, the theory, though, too, is, obviously when they're dropping 7, that's why Corum was able to rush for 243 yards. So I don't know why they tried to get cute and quit feeding him. We'll see. I definitely think Michigan needed a game like this. Punches them in the mouth a little bit. This under is looking great, although I think you need to click update because it says that there's 15 minutes left in the first quarter.
No, I think this should be the third.
Oh, did I just misread it?
No. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I will say this, Casey. Don't you think?
Shit, yeah.
Is there a chance that Maryland's just a little better than people think too?
I think Maryland could just be a little better.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Obviously, they're not going to be a threat to win the Big Ten. I thought Tua's brother. What's his first name? I don't know. It's Tagovailoa. It's Tualia.
Tualia, something like that.
Yeah, Tagovailoa, something like that. He played well. He was a little banged up at the end of the game, and they kept subbing him out. Maryland looked decent, man. They got some playmakers. I think Michigan needed a game like this, and we'll see going forward if they can get JJ settled in a little better.
Oh, Under's looking amazing.
Under's looking great. At 6-6 for the Monday night game right now. We had under 39, or I did on my board. So I don't know, man.
I need some points.
I think that in order for a Michigan fan to feel good or better going forward is that they cannot start as slow as they did in future weeks. Because it's like you said, if they start like that against Ohio State, it's going to be 21-0 before you know it.
Or even a team like Penn State, honestly.
Penn State's proven to be pretty decent this year.
I mean, they got Iowa this weekend, so they should roll over Iowa. I mean, I don't know Iowa's defense.
And Kinnick.
Okay, but how many
historically, Iowa's given Michigan problems. So.
Iowa will. Only reason why they will be in this game is if Michigan does not put up more than 30 points.
Yeah, I think the game plan needs to be boat race them first to 50 wins because they're not going to be up first to 20 wins probably.
No, yeah. As soon as you get above the 30 mark, just put in your second team because you're going to win. Iowa sucks. They can't put up more than 30 in a game.
Harbaugh was quoted today when asked about Iowa. He said, Kinnick's where top 5 teams go to die, and recognize that they have to play much better there because he goes every time we go there, it's their Super Bowl. They're ready for it. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll have plenty more to discuss about Michigan and Iowa on Thursday's show.
Number 20, Florida heading up to Tennessee and playing number 11, Tennessee. Tennessee wins 38-33. This was a great game.
It started off not being that great. We were at beat-ups together for this game, and I think we were both looking at each other like, where the fuck are the points?
Yeah, there was no points at the beginning of this game at all. A lot of them came in the second half. Tennessee's quarterback, Hooker, had an amazing game. He went 22 of 28, 339 yards, 2 TDs. Also had 12 rushes, 111 yards, 1 TD. He had himself a game.
I was wrong, Case. What my hot take from last week was that J.J. McCarthy would be the player to rise up and be in the top 5 of the Heisman.
Hooker.
Got to be Hendon Hooker.
You can even say Blake Corum. You were right about Michigan, dude.
Yeah, Corum deserves it, but I think right now, Hendon Hooker played his best game of maybe his career in the biggest stage in the biggest time.
And this was the second time Tennessee has beaten Florida in the past 18 matches.
Yep. I know they were 16 of 17 dating back to 2005, I think it was.
Yep. And then they snapped a 6-game losing streak.
Yep. So, like you said, for you to go 22 of 28 with 350 passing, 3 total touchdowns including 111 on the yard and 1 rushing touchdown, that's unbelievable. Great game. And again, fucking Florida's quarterback Anthony Richardson
he tried to do too much.
Tried to do too much and just again too little, too late. It's just tough. Tennessee Stadium, sick.
Oh, I love the checkered board.
Sick.
I absolutely love the checkerboard, but there is that one section bottom left or bottom on like the Florida side near one of the end zones where there was like blue inside that section.
Yeah.
It was all orange and white all the way around, and there was that one little section of blue for Florida.
Yeah. And what's funny, too, is like although the game says it's like 38-33, it really wasn't that close to that. The Volunteers did let things get a little questionable in the last 5 minutes thanks to some quick Florida touchdowns. But pretty much their performance was a lot more dominant than a 5-point victory, I'd say. Tennessee football might be back.
And they say this every time Tennessee gets like this, and then all of a sudden they'll lose next week.
I wonder who they have next week.
No idea who they have next week.
Let's see if there's a letdown game for them. I got it.
It probably is. They're probably I'll find it before you.
No, I got it right here. They got LSU. Yeah.
At LSU. That could be a letdown game.
At LSU, then at Tennessee.
They're at LSU, then they're at the
then they're LSU, and then they're home.
How are they going to go at Tennessee? Like, what are they going to do?
Because they're home against Bama.
They're going to do an orange and white game?
No, they're at home versus Bama.
Moving on.
Yeah, I agree. LSU could definitely be a
not much
game.
Talk about this game. Minnesota heading down to East Lansing and playing Michigan State. Minnesota wins 34-7. Michigan State looks awful. End of discussion.
Mel Tucker needs to be fired.
You have something to say.
Yeah, I think Mel Tucker's on the hot seat. I think there's a lot of concerns in East Lansing. They got to get it figured out, man. I thought after losing to Washington, I thought they'd rebound and at least play Minnesota tight. I think this is more of a game about how
show up.
Yeah, I think it's more about how bad State looks versus how good Minnesota looked. Yeah, State's got some things to figure out, man.
Not some, a lot of things to figure out.
I think defensive coordinator needs to be fired. Yep. I think that just how many passing yards they're allowing. They don't have an option. They can't get off the field. I think at one point, State had like 3 total yards of offense. They had 6 plays compared to like Minnesota's like 23.
I don't think they got a first down until I think it was like midway through the second quarter.
It's just it wasn't good. Wasn't good. Just to avoid you getting really upset, we can move on.
I mean, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
The only thing I got to say is I think that if I'm Mel Tucker, you got to, at this point, your season's pretty much done as far as the goals.
Get a new fucking quarterback. Get rid of fucking Peyton Thorne.
Peyton Thorne didn't look good.
You need to bench Peyton Thorne. Your season's over. Bench Peyton Thorne. Bring whoever the hell your other backup is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, although you still got Michigan game to look forward to.
What? Michigan's going to win by 50?
They say that every year. And then somehow State pulls it off.
I'm not looking forward to that. I might not even watch that game. I'm not, because that will just, I'm not even going to watch the Michigan.
We're going to be there for the tailgate interviewing our fans.
Yeah, we'll be there for the tailgate, and then I'm not watching the fucking game because they're going to get fucking smoked. Now, moving on, this is a good one. James Madison, that's right, James Madison. They were not. I think they were an FCS school last year, FCS because this is FBS. Yeah, FCS school last year, heading to North Carolina and playing Appalachian State. James Madison wins 32-28.
Yeah,
this is James Madison's first year in FBS, and they are 3-0.
Yeah,
and being a team like Appalachian State, I'm not saying Appalachian State's like a top Division I program, but they're still a pretty decent team.
Yeah,
Appalachian State was up 28-3 at one point, and I think it was in the second quarter.
No, so
they were up 28-3 at one point.
Yeah. So they jumped to a 28-3 lead, and then their second half included 4 punts, 2 turnovers on down, and a backbreaking interception that set up a go-ahead touchdown. So they basically just choked this way. This, according to this article on ESPN, says not since the Federalist Papers has James Madison's delivered such an emphatic defeat to the interests of America's majority, basically saying that everyone here loves App State. Like, everyone in the country loves App State.
Because,
they keep just having thrilling victories week after week.
Yeah, it's like what? Week one, who would they play? Okay, they have that Texas A&M one.
Texas A&M, and then they won last week against Troy.
Off the Hail Mary.
I can't remember who I thought week 1 was also they played Vatek.
Nope, that was
Old Dominion.
It's
an in-state game though. They played
North Carolina.
Yeah,
I
knew it was
played North Carolina, and North Carolina close and almost won that game. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting story just because James Madison,
these programs are very similar too, like both entering, like coming from the FCS to the you know what I mean. Sorry. The
FCS to the FBS, wherever the hell they came from.
Yeah, they're called different things now, but people know what I mean. Just to end up becoming like not a Division I AA
Pretty
team.
much last year they were competing in the college football playoffs for whatever division they were in.
Yeah,
they play like the North Dakota States. Easiest team to compare them to.
Yeah, South Dakota State, North
Dakota State, whatever team division they're in, that's what James Madison is in. And I mean, they're a good team. Like, they would go undefeated in those.
They are. It is the FBS. Sorry, you were right.
So when is North Dakota State gonna jump to the FBS?
We'll have to see. I think that there's definitely room now with all like how the conferences are shifting. I think we'll see a lot of like the premier. I mean, like Old Dominion did it.
I mean, it's just North Dakota State. You're just okay. I get it's nice winning a championship, but it's okay. You've won 20 in the last 22 years.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's probably money too. Like, in their athletic department, do they have the funds for like the travel, that kind of stuff? So this is a good stat. So James Madison moves to 3-0 in its first season as an FBS team. Their quarterback Todd Centio has thrown 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ready for this stat? James Madison University now has as many wins as an FBS program in 3 games as UMass has over the past 4 seasons.
That's hilarious.
So I think there needs to be a new rule where, kind of like how I think, and you might know more about this, like I know like in some of the soccer leagues, if you don't perform well, you'll get kicked down to like the other league.
In the Premier League,
you have to keep your status.
Yeah, if you're the bottom 4 teams, you get dropped. You get kicked out of the Premier League, and you get dropped down to the. I forgot what league it is. It's not the Premier League.
But like you can earn your way back.
Yeah, then like if you're the top 4 teams and the lower league, you earn your spot into the Premier League the next year. Then you're in the Premier League, and then as long as you don't finish bottom 4, you're in the Premier League until you finish bottom 4.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know it'll never happen just because of like athletic departments and like money, and like granted, UMass is in the FBS for more than just football. You can't win 3 games in 4 years and continue to be like, we're Division I. Like, dude, if I was UMass, I would literally be like, we're not doing an in-conference schedule this year. We're going to what's that team we just talked about? We're going to go play
we're going to go play NAIA schools.
Yeah, we're going to play
we're going to go over to Michigan and play
Siena Heights and Spring Arbor and Weber University
and Concordia,
and then maybe
Madonna.
Yep. So, but yeah, I do think that it's a cool story with James Madison University.
Oh, I think it's a really cool story. That's why I thought about bringing it up. Is like, yeah, if they weren't an FBS school, like it wasn't their first year, we would have never brought this up. But with it being their first year in the FBS, I thought this was a cool story, a really cool story to bring up.
Also, definitely worth it.
Right.
I mean, I feel like it's so easy to root for James Madison App State because they're like the small guy. So whenever they're playing, it's always fun to watch.
Right. So this next one is interesting, and this was a shocker to college football.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee State heading to Miami, number 25 Miami, and beating them 45-31. This was just one of those. Middle Tennessee State took control of the game from the moment the game started until the moment the game ended. Miami never led.
Yeah,
Middle Tennessee State led the entire game.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest win for Middle Tennessee State for their athletic department since they upset Michigan State in the 2015 March Madness. Sorry, just had to throw that in there. Miami's quarterback Tyler Van Dyke was benched.
I'm pretty sure App State's best one was against Michigan in 2007.
Yeah, probably was. Probably was. Just a bad look from a Miami team that looked ready to outperform expectations during Cristobal's first year as head coach. Ever since, Miami, I don't know, man. They came in with like such a lofty. They're definitely gonna be bounced out of the top 25. I mean, they were only ranked 25 heading into this game. It does kind of feel like the wheels are falling off for Miami here after that loss to A&M. That was such an ugly game. They never really got things going. To bench Tyler Van Dyke, who after their first 2 games of the year, it's like I saw an article, it was like Miami's been waiting for a quarterback like Tyler Van Dyke since the last 20 years. And I don't know if he got benched just because of how bad he was playing, or if it was that they weren't even in it yet or like had a chance to win it. So they just said bench him. I don't know. My guess is you never bench your starter when playing a team like this unless he's performing so bad that it's like, what did you do the night before? How are you this unprepared?
How are you playing this bad?
Bad look for Miami. I mean, fuck, man. They invested a lot of money to get this program turned back around. Granted, it is Mario Cristobal's first year as head coach here, so there's definitely some bumps and bruises that come along with that. But I do have a stat for all our Miami fans out there. Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe in his first season at Alabama, so Cristobal's just on the right track to win a half dozen national titles in the coming years. Just saying.
Great comparison.
Yeah.
Number 15 Oregon heading to Washington and playing Washington State.
Yeah, you guys heard it here first. Miami's going to win 6 national titles.
Oregon wins 44-41. This was
a banger.
Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Washington State was up 34-22 with 6 minutes left in the game. Oregon scored 22 points in the final 4 minutes.
Yep.
This was an insane game. Oregon takes the lead, goes up like 37-34, and then I think it was like two or three plays later, Washington State throws a pick six.
Oh, it was a pick six on a screen, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a screen through right to the D lineman or D end.
Yep.
Boom, he runs it in for
Well,
a
I was going to
tutty.
say, even after Oregon took the lead, Washington State went back down and scored to make it a 3-point game, and I think they just either
they scored with like a second left.
Okay, so
they scored with like no time left.
So they weren't going to be able to win anyway, because that game, I had to have I was with my girlfriend, I had to have someone switch to it, because I was like, I had it on my phone, I was like, this is fucking crazy. Can you put this game on the TV? They had some bullshit Big Ten game up, because we're in Big Ten country out here, and I was like, holy crap, and then you're right, I looked at the box score, and I was like, how the fuck did they score like 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes?
Literally
4 minutes or whatever it was.
Hell of an ending to that game. Not really.
Washington State covered.
About it.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
Yeah, it was
6 and a half. Yep, 6.5.
This next game was a pretty good game. It was a really, really close one. Number 10 Arkansas heading down to Texas and playing Texas A&M.
This game was a push, wasn't it?
Texas A&M wins 23-21. This was a push for you, loss for me because I bet Arkansas money line. Let me just say, this isn't obviously, if you take away this touchdown, Arkansas obviously wins this game. But I'm not going to say something that happened, I think, in the second quarter or early in the third is going to be the determined factor of this game. KJ Jefferson, ball on the 3, and he tries to dive to score. Ball gets knocked out of his hand. DB from Texas A&M picks it up and is running down the field. He gets about to the 40, and he gets held up by an Arkansas guy. His teammate runs over, takes the ball from him, and then finishes the remaining 60 yards to score.
This was the play where the quarterback tried to dive, right?
Yeah, he tried to dive in.
It's funny because Casey texted me, and all he said was, "What the fuck was that?" And I had no idea. I said, "What are you talking about?" And he just sends me a clip, and it just is just one. He dove. He wasn't even close to getting in the end zone.
Right.
I mean, he was going to be short. I don't know.
You just got the what the fuck text before. I sent the video, then I said what the fuck.
I think the what the fuck came first.
What the fuck came first before he got the
Yeah. So that was crazy. Then we got into a long talk because with the way he handed the ball off or the teammate took it, I was like, that's so fire, though. It's like heads up.
It was a very heads up play. Cause number 26, I don't know his name, number 26 on Texas A&M, just notices his teammate is going to get tackled and says, nope, we're going to score. Literally runs over behind him.
Give me that shit.
He probably was like, give me the fucking ball, man.
Yeah.
And then the dude hands him the ball and he just runs 60 yards with it.
Yep. Well, that scared the fuck out of me.
Sure,
it reminded me of that. Remember we were texting about that one pick where the guy jumped, got it, and batted it back in bounds.
Oh yeah, it was I sent you the video. Oklahoma State. Forgot who they were playing.
Oklahoma, right?
No, it wasn't Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma State, someone else. Whoever was playing Oklahoma State threw the ball. Dude from Oklahoma State literally leaps. He's like 3 feet in the air. Bats the ball at one of his teammates.
Oh, he didn't even catch it. He just hit it right to the guy.
Yeah,
That's right. I remember you did send me the video. Yeah, that was I love when shit like that happens. The stupid thing here, and like granted, I think we've both been pretty high on Arkansas this year. A&M scored 23 unanswered points,
that
man.
can't happen.
I mean, and I hate to ever.
7 of them is that fumble that happened, but still, that can't happen.
No, because the only lose by 2 is a push for me because I had Arkansas +2. Jerry World was packed; they were pumping. Again, this just feels like another fraudulent win for A&M, where they sneak by when they had really no business doing it. Jimbo,
I think this was the game. Arkansas had a chance to win, and they tried to kick a game-winning field goal, and they hit the right upright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it came back, and they missed it because they hit the right upright. I'm pretty sure this is the game that happened too.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, dude, I don't know. I remain super skeptical over A&M. I think Arkansas will bounce back. This is the first time we've really seen Arkansas be this relevant in college football in a long time. I imagine there's quite a bit of pressure for that team there. Try to go in, even though they were technically the road team, but it's a neutral site game. We'll see. I'm still gonna be high on Arkansas going forward. I don't think this is gonna stop them from fighting hard this year. I still think that they'll remain competitive, and I'm gonna bet against A&M every chance I fucking have. Just saying.
Good for you. Good for you. This next game, I really have nothing much to say about this.
Fuck this game,
you were
dude. Are you
wrong.
Fucking good?
Number
this shit in the
seven,
show
number
sheet?
7 USC heading up to Oregon and playing Oregon State. USC wins a close, low scoring game, 17-14. You were so confident this was going to go over 70.5, and what number is that? 31.
Yeah.
They didn't even get half of what the number they were supposed to get.
So listen,
I'm so confident this is gonna be a shootout. A what? A defensive shootout.
A defensive shootout.
Yeah, they were shooting down the offense from every chance they were trying to get.
Listen, that was good. That was a good one, dude. I was very confident in the over here. It being a night game, I expected a ton of points. I got the complete opposite. Luckily, we didn't.
This was on no. This was on our big parlay.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the only game we lost. I would feel a lot worse. I got nothing to say, folks. You look at how many points Oregon State's been putting up.
Caleb Williams didn't play that good.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he led on that game-winning drive, but he didn't play that. I'm pretty sure he was under 50%.
Yeah, it was sloppy.
Sorry to cut you off, though.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, based on everything leading into this game, it was pretty reasonable for me to be like, I can see this being 42-35.
It was 17-14.
It was 17-14. A rare low-scoring Pac-12 game. USC edges it out. Probably going to be one of the tougher games USC has to play all year. They got the win. USC's in prime position to make a run, man. They really are.
No, they are. They just can't play like this again.
They can't play like this again, but it's one of those things where wins like that give you confidence. When you know you don't play your best and you're on the road at night and you pull out the victory, that can give that team a lot of juice going forward. And granted, you're right, though. If I'm Lincoln Riley, there ain't going to be a lot of celebrating being done. I mean, it always feels good to win, but you guys got to know, if we play like that again, we're going to get popped in the mouth. So,
speaking about fucking wins, you want to know what's fucked up? You want to know what's fucked up?
What's fucked up?
I had a coworker today. She walks up to me with just a Michigan sign that says the score. And then I stand up, and between my desk and her desk are a bunch of Minnesota logos all over the office.
Oh, no.
All over, up and down.
Oh, no, Case.
And she's a Michigan fan.
It's a sad day. It's a bad day.
The CEO walks by, and he's a Michigan State fan. And supposedly she told me I was running my mouth. My CEO's like, Casey, why are you running your mouth? I'm like, I didn't say a word. I never said a word. I knew Michigan State was going to lose.
You took Minnesota, I'm pretty sure.
I did. But yeah, since you said they wins a win, I just remember her saying, because I was like, after she brought me that, I was like, didn't your team barely beat?
Yeah, you can't say that after getting dog walked by Minnesota. I would have lost my shit too. I put Maryland and Minnesota in the same camp as far as competitiveness. Bitch. Fuck you trying to get. Fuck, that's what you get.
17-point favorites.
That's what you get.
Next, moving on. Bitch.
Shut the fuck up. I'll keep talking about whatever
Kansas
I want.
State heading to Oklahoma, playing number 6 Oklahoma. The Sooners. Kansas State wins 41-34. Old former Nebraska quarterback. He was there. I didn't even know this dude. I thought this dude was 30. Adrian Martinez balled the fuck out. 21.
Not really.
Huh?
Not really.
I meant
this
more.
This is very similar to the Bo Nix stat you shit on a couple weeks ago.
I meant more of the rushing yards. What? Okay, let me just get to it. Yeah, his passing yards, pass completion percentage is not the greatest. 21-34 for 234 yards, 1 TD. But he had 21 rushes, 128 yards, 4 TDs on rushing. That's mainly what I meant by
The
ball
bottom
dominance.
stat you have on there is even wilder. I did not realize that.
Kansas State has won 3 out of the last 4 times
That's
against
insanity. Yeah.
And I think about it. This one was in OU. They're at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that means most likely, I think that one win was at Kansas State.
Yeah.
So I think Kansas State has their number.
So Kansas State's been a Big 12 darling. Like a lot of people have been like, that's the dark horse, that's the sleeper team, that's the team you got to watch out for. Fuck yeah! I mean,
They're like the Northwestern of the Big 12. They're
because of their colors.
No, it's just because okay, maybe not because Kansas State won on the road. The Northwestern thing is more of they're a tough place to play at.
Yeah, I can see that. I will say this though.
Purdue. They're the Purdue of the Big 12.
I like that.
Because Purdue is a team where it's like
if you go,
they suck. Yeah, they're not good, but like you also cannot.
Shit, Ohio State saw it last year.
Yeah, you cannot over Michigan State. Not Ohio State. Michigan State lost to them.
Oh, was it Michigan State?
Yeah, Michigan State lost to them.
Ohio State was a couple years ago that Purdue beat them.
But it's one of those things where it's like you cannot sleep on that team, whether it's you're playing at their place, playing on the road, or playing at home against them, because they can. If you let up a little bit, they're going to punch you in the mouth and they're going to beat you. They're going to beat you in a low scoring game.
Yeah. Do you think Oklahoma wins out? I mean, this is what the beauty of college football is we have no idea what these how these losses will implicate.
I think this is a bad loss. I think even if they win out and they win the Big 12, I think they'll leave them out.
Okay.
Okay. Let me rephrase that because obviously it depends on how everything else looks.
That's what I was gonna say. We have no idea now.
But okay, you're talking a 1-loss Bama or Georgia that is not a conference champion versus a 1-loss conference champion Oklahoma. I'm going SEC or Bama. I'm going SEC or I'm going Bama or Georgia at that point, just because of they're not the conference
they're the better team.
But look who they lost to. They lost to either Georgia. They lost to the top team in the country.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll keep an eye on, as always, guys, with some of these, like Kansas States and the Oregon States. Keep an eye on them going forward. See if they do anything else interesting to kind of amplify their wins. It was a wonky college football slate. It was a lot of good games. Just a lot of the games that we had talked about in our preview just ended up not being.
Yeah, they weren't.
Before we can talk about Baylor, Iowa State. Baylor did exactly what we thought they were going to do.
Yeah, they were going
to. The fact that they weren't favorites was just wild to me.
Right.
But that does it for college football week 3. Anything else?
That's all I have to say. Let's just get in the week 4.
Cool.
I think I'm loving the card.
All right, bet. Let's do it. Just had a realization that the audio could potentially be a little out of sync for the first half, but I'm going to do my darndest. I bet I can figure out. It should be fine. So, what part of the show are we on?
We're on NFL Week 3 recap.
Cue the music. All right.
Oh, you had
Here we go.
First Red Zone experience. I popped your cherry this weekend with Red Zone. How was that?
What did he say?
Don't ever say that to me again, dude. What did he say? Okay.
So you had your first Red Zone experience.
Yeah.
So how did that go?
Yeah. So this has been a long time coming. Casey has been trying to get us trying to figure out how we can get Red Zone for a minute. So we finally just bit the bullet, paid for it. So I got over here. So let me preface it with this. I'm like, okay, I'll be there by 1. And Casey's like, that's not going to work. And I'm like,
Carry forward. You have to watch the beginning. You have to watch the countdown of it going, hitting 0, and then you watching the beginning of it, and then Scott Hansen saying, and now you have 7 hours of commercial-free football starting now.
okay, yeah. So then I was like, oh, I'll be there by 12:30. And Casey's like, well, I don't want to be a little rushed. And I was like, how about I just get there around noon? An hour before the game. She's like, noon works perfect.
Okay, whoa. Let's put in the context. We had to do some shit beforehand.
No, we did.
We had to handle some business beforehand, so I just felt like
Didn't want to be
30 minutes
rushed.
was gonna be a little too quick.
Yeah, no, I get
For
that.
the business that we had to handle.
Yeah, and I agreed once he kind of talked about it. He was like, it makes more sense for us to run to the store, do whatever we got to do, And then, like, he goes, I'd rather be, like, chilling waiting for 40 minutes than rushing for the last 5. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So we handle our business. We get in, and I'm like, hey, President's Cup is on. And Casey's like, okay. And this dude trolls me and we have 2 TVs. He just puts Red Zone on both TVs. And all this is a timer with a little bit of music. He's like, I was like, dude, this has like 38 minutes still, dude.
No. It was like before the timer was even there.
Yeah, it was just
like the timer will come on in shortly. Right?
Yeah. It was like, there wasn't even
the Red Zone music.
Yeah. And so I was just kind of like, okay, dude, like we've got time. So we watched some President's Cup. We get close. Casey puts it on. And then, yeah, it was electric, man.
You didn't believe me that you watched every touchdown. You literally watch every touchdown.
So, like, I will say the only times in the past that I've had Red Zone was I've never had it for, like, at-home viewing experience, or, like, whether it was just me or with buddies. I've been out to bars on Sundays for brunch and stuff, and, like, the bar will have it on. But then a lot of times you don't get the audio because they'll just have, like, the Lions game audio on. So I see it, and I got the concept. But, like, I will say I was a little
it's overwhelming.
It was overwhelming.
It is overwhelming because, like, you're watching this game, and all of a sudden this game's on. You're like, I was just watching this, and then all of a sudden another game's on. You're just like, oh my god! And then I just love it. Your first experience, you had the Octobox.
I had the Octobox. That was wild. I'm trying to watch the top left, and then something happens bottom right, and he's like, "We got the Scott Hansen just so much." He's like, "And for the first time this year, we got an Octobox." And then Casey's losing his mind. I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" So I had a couple notes just in my head about it. No complaints really at all. I will say it's a different viewing experience than I'm used to.
Oh, it's like it's hard to watch an actual football game after watching.
Well, and I've told you beforehand that I am one that likes to sit down and just watch one game because I feel like then I get a better read. Like, especially like we had the Lions game on, and I did find that during the Lions game, I was watching more of that than the Red Zone just because I knew we'd talk about the Lions and like it's easier to kind of get a read on how the game's going. But there is nothing better. I wasn't worried about like I knew all the guys I had going in fantasy, and you're just sitting there and it's like this guy scores and you're like, well, why the fuck is he playing?
Oh yeah, no.
Like, why is it him?
Who was it? Tyler Boyd. He
Yes!
scored 2 touchdowns. You're like, I didn't start him. Then the second time, you're like, another one. I didn't start
Yeah.
him.
So like it does bring that to light because otherwise I would just like I wouldn't have found out till probably like halfway through Sunday that Boyd went off. But I'm seeing in real time. I'm like, well, he's just on my bench. You know what I mean?
I mentioned he's going off.
Not just like the number one fantasy receiver after Mac Hollis this week, I think, for the Raiders. But yeah, it was different. I will say. Casey loves Red Zone. I mean, like all he kept saying was like, just what he says, $7 commercial free football.
No, it's just like literally you sit there from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until the 4 o'clock slate is done, and you have no commercials. It is just football.
Yeah.
Football, Tucker. Football.
What's up, Tucker boy? It was good. I would say the hardest part for me. That's okay, buddy. Yeah, well, you're in a bad spot right now. Go lay down. Go be a dog. You did so good. Okay, dude. Really?
Was it catching him?
I think so.
Okay, talk, dude.
Oh, sorry. Well, dude, we got Tucker's just being the star of the show. I was gonna say so. The things that I think will be the biggest adjustment for me going forward is there were times, and granted, they did cut back to see it, but like you would see a team, because there were times where they do a good job of like a team's driving, and if there's nothing else happening, they'll stick with that game. But then like something would happen, like, dude, I want to see a replay of that. And it's like, oh, wait, Derrick Henry touchdown, and then they just cut, and you're like, what the fuck?
That is the only shitty thing is they don't show they don't like an actual broadcast is they don't show the replays.
And they just don't have time, you know what I mean? And then,
no, because there's so, especially, you might see it in the 4 o'clock slate because there's really not that many games.
Yeah, I would say the 1 o'clock was hectic just because it's like,
9 games
dude, at one point when they did the Octobox, they cut away from the Octobox to just cut to 4 teams all within the red zone. I'm like, dude, it was like, and it's hard. Like, which one do you want to watch? I like, even as a human, I can't just like split my eyeballs onto two different.
It's like you're like, okay, well, these guys just snapped. Okay, let me go up here and watch these guys snap. You're like, okay, those guys snap. Let me go over here. They go down here. Then you go back over here. Go back over there. It's just amazing.
I thought it was funny. One note that it like made me chuckle during the thing was you can tell that it's just as hectic producing a show like that as it is like for us watching, because at one point Scott Hansen was talking about, I think it was the Raiders or Ravens game, and he was like about to give a stat, and then his producer cut to another game, and he goes, well, clearly my producer, I think the guy's name was like Jake, he's like, Jake doesn't care about the Ravens, let's cut to this game. And you can tell that even then, because it's so fast moving, you can't always be on the same page, even if like on the teleprompter it's like give stat about Ravens or whatever. If they're about to score, you gotta cut to the football. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's great.
It was sweet. I look forward. I feel like this is like Sunday thing we'll do rest of the year, even considering because I think we're going to start doing some recordings on Sunday, like maybe do our college recap Sundays, maybe just to kind of split it up for us. So I look forward to the rest of the year. Casey made bomb-ass pulled pork in the crock pot. That started off like, I don't know if your crock pot's big enough, but it ended up being great.
That was a story. So I found this.
I think we decided on Thursday that we were going to do that, right? We said like, you said, hey, I'll make some food.
Yeah, we talked Thursday that I was going to do it. We didn't decide until Friday and what I was making because I remember it was like 8:00 at night. I'm like, so I'm the type of person where I don't like going to the store. I hate going to the store. I just hate the store.
You avoid it if you can.
Yeah, so I order all my groceries, or at least some of, or most of them. Obviously, key things I don't.
That's like reason number 1,000 that Casey and my dad get along so well, because Casey's already a 55-year-old old man.
So,
just saying.
I wanted to order my Meijer order, my Meijer order online, and then I would go pick it up right before the noon o'clock slate for college football, and have all the shit I needed for the pulled pork. So, go online, I ordered, they're like, okay, well, the recipe I found is for a 4-pound thing of pork. And they were like, okay, well, the cheapest one you can get is 7. So I'm like, okay, screw it, just give it to me, I'll double everything. They gave me one that's like a little over 8 pounds. So I doubled everything, and I looked at my crock pot.
Your dad helped out a little bit too, right? Because he's kind of done something like this before.
So when I got the meat home, I'm like, okay, the meat looks a little tight with the crock pot.
Yeah.
So I kind of put it in there inside it was inside of a bag, put it in there, and it fit in there. So I'm like, oh, it's gonna be tight, but I think it's gonna work. Put everything back, wake up the next morning, it's 5:30 in the morning. Cut up my onion, cut up my garlic, throw the meat in there, mix together the sauce and the juice I needed to put it with. I'm not telling the fucking recipe, but the juice.
Don't give it all out. Come on.
I'm not giving it all out.
No.
I said juice. They don't know what type of juice.
Orange
juice, apple juice.
Juice made the biggest difference, by the way. You could tell because it was sweet but savory. Oh, it was so good.
It was amazing. You could definitely got that flavor or whatever juice flavor.
If we get to somehow 100 subs after this episode, we'll release the recipe.
If we get
So that's 75 more we need.
Yep.
So that Casey will release the recipe that he did find on Google. So just saying.
Shut the fuck up. I made it from scratch. But so I added everything in there, and I poured in like the sauce or whatever.
Dude, it was filled to the brim.
It got to the tippy top of my crock pot.
Even with the lid on, it was like full.
So I sit there, and it's like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay.
Didn't you almost debate going to get another crock pot?
Well, I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, well, Walmarts aren't open 24 hours anymore like they used to back in the good old days.
Right.
When we were in high school.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Or I guess maybe it was even before COVID.
Well before then. But, so I'm debating. I'm like, okay, well, do I really need one? So I text my dad. It's like 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, call me when you wake up, please. So my dad calls me.
His dad's retired, and it's the weekend, so you're not going to hear from him until probably like 8:39.
Yeah, so it's like 8 or 9. My dad calls me and says, "What's up, buddy?" And I'm like, "Yo." So I told him what happened. He says, "You should be good. You should be good." I think that's overs might hit. He's like, "You should be good."
Cooper Rush is elite.
He said, and then he goes on and just says,
"Oh wait, you have Giants." Sorry.
And then he goes on and just says that, yeah, this next time, don't obviously just cut the portion meat down. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm rolling with it. I'm not going to Walmart at 8 o'clock in the morning to buy a bigger crock pot. Screw it. I'll just, hopefully this works. Just because at that point, I might have to restart my time, or at least.
Yeah, so I think we did. So we talked about when I got here. Casey knows I've got a little crock pot experience. And basically I said because it's packed so tight, we just might have to cook it a little longer because it doesn't have like the airflow to cook. Like it doesn't have, it's hard to explain, but he knew what I was saying. And we did, we pulled the meat that was ready. There was some that looked like it needed just a little bit more time.
So it said, told me to cook it for 8 to 10 hours. It hit the 8-hour mark. I checked it. It was like the outside, the first inch of the outside was all done. And I pulled that off, but it's just like inside of that just wasn't really done yet. So I threw that in for another, I think, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
It turned out so good.
And then it turned out amazing. It was a bitch to get out, though.
Oh, yeah.
I have to get one of those prawn type of things. Like, like those grill things that have like those two big
Yep,
prawns.
I know what you're talking about.
I have to get one of those to try to put this stick in there and pull it out because it was a bitch to pull that out. And that piece of meat was hot as shit.
Yeah, I kept.
So it wasn't one of those things that like I could like get it out of the liquid that's in there, then like grab it with my hands and throw it in there. I'll burn the shit out of my hands.
It was perfect too because we had buns, so we just made like pulled pork sandwiches all day. At one point, I took some of the leftover meat and just threw it on a plate with some honey barbecue sauce and was able to snack on that. It was like perfect since we knew we were gonna be like I didn't overstay my welcome. I left at 8 before the game. I did.
No.
Yeah, I left before the kickoff.
No.
Yes, I did.
Nope.
Yes,
no, you did. You did.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember the Sunday night song came on and you closed the door and I was like, waiting all day for Sunday night.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. I'm not telling you the Casey version song.
Casey's version is just about
my
green beans.
My version's a lot better.
Involves green beans.
My version's a lot better. Don't listen to it. My version's a lot better.
But yeah, overall, great Sunday experience. I look forward to having some more red zones. I'm sure we'll keep you guys posted on some of the other fun stuff we cook because neither one of us are.
I can't cook. So
we don't consider ourselves to be chefs in the kitchen, so it should be maybe.
I'm just a chef at Hot Takes.
That was a good one, dude. You're fucking good, man.
I got you.
You did. Fuck, yeah, it's stupid. But I will say, hopefully when we can do some of our live streams earlier, we can show some of our fans, like, this is what we're trying to cook up, and we're just going to get roasted. They're like, you're doing it that way? I'm like, dude, leave us alone.
We'll just show you guys the finished product.
There we go.
But, the NFL came out today, and they are changing the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, so I kind of expected this to happen.
I mean, the Pro Bowl sucks, and it sucked for years.
Didn't they switch like 2 years? I think it was 2019 they switched to full pads but two-hand touch. And it's like, what's the point? At that point, they should just do a flag football game. I think that would be highly entertaining.
That's what they're talking about doing. So they're talking about a week-long skills competition, and then it's going to end off with a flag football game.
That's what I would do. I would do that. I think the players would find that more fun. No one wants to get in pads just to not get tackled. I know a lot of the reason for the changes is obviously it's at the end of the year, so guys are banged up. It's not like a lot of teams do it in the middle of the season. Football,
and it's like some of those guys are off for a month or two before the Pro Bowl because it's like the week before the Super Bowl.
Right.
And guys that don't make the playoffs, they've been done for over a month.
And some of the guys that are in the playoffs are like, dude, I haven't had a break all year. I'm not playing in this. I think that out of all the games that have needed like the biggest, like when I say games, I mean like the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, and the football. I think that this is one that was the easiest to die because football is already a violent enough sport, and to like put yourself at injury risk, or if you're already not fully healthy, which nobody is in a football season that late into the year, and for some of them at the end of the year, that where it doesn't make sense personally or financially to even consider playing. So they've needed to revamp something for a long time. Problem is, it's hard. How many people are going to care about a non-tackle football game?
Right.
I would watch it because I think flag football can be fun.
I mean, I like the skills competition idea.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff they can do with it. They just have to market it right, and they need to mic up the God, I'm doing what Casey did last week.
They have to mic up the players.
They got to mic up the players and make it as all access as you can, because I think fans love when in the MLB is doing this year where they mic up a player in the field. I know I'm waiting to hiccup again. Where they know how they mic up a player in the field. That gives you an access to a player's thoughts during the game that you don't necessarily always have. I like the changes. I mean, I like that they're at least recognizing the fact that it's not watchable or not something that fans will go out of their ways to watch.
I would say out of all of them, this is the worst one.
Yeah,
right behind. I mean, it's I don't like the NBA one either, the NBA All-Star Game, but it's also you at least see some cool shit. You at least see some cool dunks, some cool shots.
You see guys pulling up from
alley-oops.
Yeah.
I just don't like, because when I'm thinking about a game like that, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not watching a shoot around.
Well, yeah, NBA is basically a bunch of guys that get together in the offseason, don't play hard D, we don't want anyone hurt. I mean, I remember at one point, this was 4 years ago,
they almost scored
200 points.
Each.
That's what I was about to say.
Each.
Yeah. The over-under was at 368 or something. I'm like, what do you mean 368? And they're like, well, we think both teams are going to get to 200. See, that does add a level of viewership. Is your laptop unplugged?
Yes.
Okay. That does add a level of viewership because... sorry, guys. I'm trying to make Casey's laptops keep shutting on him.
It's fine, dude.
No, I just don't like it, because if this is plugged in, your screen won't go black as fast. Add a level of viewership, because if I knew teams were maybe going to get to 200, I'd probably tune in for that. But I agree, this one's been the most unwatchable.
Move on.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to wait till we move on. It does add a level of viewership. Do you think that there's anything that they could add to make it more watchable if they brought in I don't know, NFL legends, or is there a certain skills competition you'd like to see? Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head that would make it I'd like to see that?
You remember how they used to have those college, when the guys are about to get drafted, they would have those pro days where those the college skills competition where it's quarterback throws the longest, and you have a quarterback receiver duo, and how fast they can run through an obstacle course.
Yeah,
just shit like that. Give me that.
Yeah, I miss the who can throw it the farthest, because you would see some shit where you were like, who threw it how far?
In the NFL.
Oh my God. I remember one time Jamarcus Russell threw it 70 yards from his knee, and he was like, I can stand up if you guys need me to. And it was like, that's fucking absurd.
I remember, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
we played catch in the parking lot on Sunday. Yes. 2 mid to high 20s guys out on Sunday, because we fucking love football. We're out playing catch in the rain when we were bored. Casey's got a little cannon on him. Not gonna lie.
I can throw there.
Not gonna lie. The first pass, he overthrew me by 20 yards, because I just was like, "There's no way he gets here," and he was like, "Want to bet?" And yeah, Casey impressed me a little bit.
Slippery. A ball gets wet. I can't throw it, but you give me a ball that's dry, I can sling that thing. I can throw dimes all day.
Yeah, I was impressed.
I'm just 5'8", so I'm short. I can't be a quarterback.
I'll say I remember.
I'm just hot take. If I'm 6 foot, I would be in the NFL right now. I'm that good of a quarterback, and I see the field that well. I would be in the NFL
as a kicker.
No, as a quarterback.
Dude, are you good? All right, cheers to you being in the NFL if you're 6 foot, bitch.
I just needed to grow 4 inches.
Okay, I can't even drink right now. I gotta. So one thing, and I know this segment wasn't meant to be this long, but the last thing, as Casey knows, and you guys don't yet, but I love video games, and I watch a lot of streamers. And last year during the Super Bowl, they did a it was FaZe, which is a big esports organization, versus I think it was 100 Thieves, which is another big one. They did a flag football competition with a bunch of their creators, and Brett Favre was one of the quarterbacks and Michael Vick was. And although they weren't pro athletes, I know Vick and Favre are former pro, it was still fun to watch. Because although people think it's easy to grab, it got more physical than you think, especially the guys were getting pressed on the line and shit. You could see some fun stuff if they do it like that. To me, it all comes down to player buy-in. You got to have the superstars there to make it worth it.
And you have to have them one to compete.
Yeah, like otherwise it's just going to be boring. But yeah, I think Pro Bowl changes were needed. This was a good thing to have the show. Good job, Case, man. Good job. Yeah.
Let's actually get into our NFL slate, though. Our NFL recap.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Because we went Red Zone Pro Bowl and we just went on a Pro Bowl rant for 10 minutes.
We're gonna do our best. I mean, NFL, man, fucking Red Zone had my mind in a blender. At one point, I tried to I was had it in my head because we're gonna see all these scores. I was gonna take notes. You can't take notes during Red Zone.
Because you can't get the key plays and for example, the Lions game. It's they had a key 4th and 3 late in the game where they kicked the 54-year-old.
And if we weren't paying attention to that, we would have missed it.
Yeah. Where they kicked the 54-year-old, a career-long 54-year-old.
Just hold
yard field.
Just hold that thought, because I'm gonna rant about that when we get into the game.
Okay. But the Houston Texans heading up to Chicago, playing the Chicago Bears. Bears win a close one, 23-20. Roquan Smith had a huge interception very late in the game. Intercepted the ball inside Texan territory. Pretty much gave the Bears, put the Bears in field goal range. Bears ran the clock down and kicked the game-winning field goal to win 23-20. A key highlight to this game is Khalil Herbert had a career high 157 yards, and he also had 2 rushing TDs.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty good game for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I just looked this up. So amongst both, if you consider Yahoo, ESPN, FanDuel, and DraftKings, he was rostered on less than 50% in all leagues, as low as 1% in both FanDuel and DraftKings, and 25% in ESPN. The high, he was 49% in Yahoo leagues. So that's a guy that I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, I should have probably picked him up and played him.
Should have probably started him.
Did it end up being a Lovie Smith revenge game? Bears win an ugly one. And yeah, that last second interception was
Justin Fields played like shit too. He was 8 for 17, 107 yards.
It's like another I think he was my last position player pick in one of my leagues. I needed a backup quarterback. And I was like, oh, boom or bust type guy, because he can. I always like my backup, if I'm going to have to spot start a guy, being a guy he could get 60 yards on the ground, because he can scramble. A lot of times you can get lucky with those guys. Part of me, I'm not ready to call Fields a bust, because I just think the Bears are so bad that he's just in a horrible position. This was kind of a game. I thought the Texans were going to be able to sneak it out. I saw a stat earlier in the week that, before the game, that Jalen Petrie, the safety they drafted out of Baylor this year, was leading all rookie safeties and tackles or something. Apparently he's off to a great start. Davis Mills, I don't know. This game kind of was, I think, what we expected, and close but sloppy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Still hard to read if the Texans are going to surprise people. The Bears are just bad. I know the Bears won, but the Bears are just bad.
The Bears are just bad, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we were right that this game probably did have some implications on the number 1 overall pick.
Well,
I wanted to fit that in.
I agree with that. I think the number 1 overall pick's going to the Raiders, but great point to get into. The Las
Are you
Vegas
fucking good?
Raiders heading out east and playing Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Titans win 24-22. Titans led the entire game, and the Raiders fall to 0-3. They are the only team to be 0-3 right now.
Yeah, they were a team I picked to be in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
And did you say they were going to win the Super Bowl? Pretty sure they were your Super Bowl winner.
No, 49ers were.
Gotcha. But still,
sorry. I had to answer that text. Shout out to my girlfriend for just calling me a liar, but we're not going to get into that on camera. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
One of your Super Bowl teams is 0-3, man.
Yeah. So I think this is another game that I'm proud of us. In our 4th week of college and 3rd week of NFL, we're starting to get better when we do our picks of the week and how we're looking at teams and spreads. We're getting a little bit better, but getting into the analytics. This is one that we both said was probably the coin flippiest game of the week. 2 teams that we thought were better than what their records said, and 2 of the most unpredictable teams in the league. The Raiders, throughout the year, have started really well and finished really bad. That was the opposite in this game. Just, again, too little, too late. Raiders fall to 0-3. I'm not out on them yet. I think they could break Casey's hot take model for predicting playoff teams. We'll see. only 0-3 team. My opinion is a little stifled here. Only because I still think the Raiders are going to be good, but you 0-3 teams typically just aren't. If you look at like all the trends in NFL history, none of them make the playoffs. So we'll see. Derrick Henry had a decent game. Tennessee, they bounced back, and I think that's maybe a season defining win for them. If they lose, then they fall to 0-3. Correct?
Right. Yeah. I think both these teams were both 0-2.
Yeah, so like Action Network called this like a historical must-win game if any team wants to salvage their season. Although the trends still suggest that Tennessee probably won't make the playoffs. We'll see though. Does this give you a better read on either team going forward, or do you think it's just still kind of hard to tell?
It's still hard. It's really hard to tell still. Just because I think it's hard to tell with this one.
I will say this. Raiders wide receiver Mac Hollis, the number one scoring fantasy receiver this year, like 30 points. I think that he was on no one's rosters. Have you ever even heard of the guy?
Never even heard of the guy.
Never even heard of the guy? Yeah, so he went off for like 29 something points. I was pretty surprised by that. Especially, I think, considering everyone thought that Devontae Adams was going to be their guy this year. Hollis has actually had off to a pretty decent start. I'm going to tell you right now what he's rostered in. Oh, that didn't work. We'll just move on. It's not that important. But, yeah, we can go to the next game. It's fine.
The Kansas City Chiefs head up to Indiana and play the Indianapolis Colts. Colts get their first win of the year and win 20-17. Let's just say Colts got kind of lucky at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Got off to an early 7-0 lead after Sky Moore muffed a punt inside the 10 and gave the ball to the Colts inside the 5. Colts went on the score to go up 7-0.
Yeah.
And then other than that, there's really not much to say other than, what a lot of people are talking about is Mahomes and is it
Bellamy. Eric Bellamy. Yep.
Eric Bellamy have some words at halftime. It looks like Bellamy let the time. They just ran out the clock to end the second half. Mahomes wanted to go for it to try to get inside.
They were only needed 25 yards.
They needed 25 or 30 yards to get inside field goal range, and Mahomes wanted to go for it. Bellamy was like, nope, let's just get into the locker room.
I think it's
Bellamy. Bellamy, or however the fuck, Eric B.
Bellamy.
Eric B., the OC for the Chiefs.
People know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Also, as you guys know, Casey sucks at pronouncing. I cannot wait for hockey season. I'm going to make him try to pronounce an entire roster.
But, this is one of those things that, the camera just caught something bad, and people are just trying to...
Well, did you see Le'Veon Bell's comments about it?
No.
So, I know, and you can say what you want about Le'Veon. I'm pretty sure it was Le'Veon. He quote-tweeted the video, and... from his short stint with the Chiefs when he was there, and said that is who Eric Bellamy is. He basically said he has no idea how to call plays or put players in position, and that he's been kind of riding Andy Reid's coattails for a while. I will say that part of me finds that to be false, only because Bellamy's been considered to be one of the hottest coaching candidates. But then I say that, and then I think, well, then why hasn't he gotten a job yet? Because since Mahomes has been there, he's been interviewed and been rumored to leave, and he never does. And so I don't know.
But it's just one of those things that it's just, does he think Reid's going to be leaving in the next couple of years? And it's the
the Todd Bowles thing with Tampa Bay.
Why start something new down in Miami, or why start something new up in Detroit where I have to build this team, or I can just get gifted a Super Bowl contending team. And with players that I have coached and I have known for years and built relationships for years and years and years. Mahomes just pretty much said that. I'm pretty sure he came out and said these two are just competitors, and that he wanted to go for it. Bellamy was like, no, I don't want to. And then they just had that talk. As you should.
Well, also, I think Mahomes has earned the ability to push back a little bit, right? Yeah, he's not some rookie quarterback, right?
Yeah, I'd be like, I've proven it. Give me the chance.
And another thing that we have to keep in mind when we talk about this stuff is I wouldn't say I will say it. A lot of these decisions are being taken out of coaches' hands with analytics, where they're like, nope, the numbers show it's better to not try to do something stupid, and everything is pointing to the fact that we'll have no. I don't. It can't pick it up. Sorry, Tucker's chewing on a squeaky toy. I just want to make sure our mics can't hear it. He's fine. He also hears us talking about him right now. He just completely stopped. Just staring at us. Oh, no, he's not. Regardless, a lot of these decisions are being taken now that they're putting them in the choice of analytics and models over 50, 60 years and of how trends in games work. Like, hey, it's better. Actually, everything in this game points that we shouldn't do that. We should do this. I think Mahomes has shown in his career. I think that one game against the Bills last year, where I think both teams scored with minutes left in the game multiple times, that if Mahomes saying we can get 25 yards, let me get 25 yards, go ahead and do it. The Colts haven't won a game yet. In games like that, when you know that you're the superior opponent on both sides of the ball and in every facet of the game, you fucking make them win it. You don't put yourself in a position to potentially lose it. And clearly a field goal would have mattered here.
Uh-oh. 39. Over-under's at 39, and they're at 39.
So I need this game to end in a tie.
You need them to know when to score for the rest of the game.
Right, so I need it to end like this.
Yeah, you need to end like this, and you'll push.
Sorry for a little break in the Chiefs
Sorry,
talk.
this is Tyler's having a pretty fucking good week.
Finally.
Yeah, he's having a pretty good week for his picks of the week, and it's all coming down to the Monday night game.
If I'm going to have an even better week, yeah. Even if I lose this, I had a pretty decent week.
Even if you lose this game, you're still going to be above 500. You're still going to be above,
plus money.
Plus money. Well, pretty good record, but
yeah,
this will just make it a little bit better. You need a week like this after last week.
Thanks. I did after the last 2 weeks.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You went what? 3-7 and then 1-9.
Yeah,
so 3 bad weeks.
Yeah. Two bad
weeks, and then you have this week to somewhat
bounce back. Yeah, so I had under 39 in the Monday night game, and I think they just kicked the field goal to get to 39. So I need no teams to score, and then no teams to score in overtime. Anything else to say about the Chiefs? I mean, I'm not worried about the Chiefs, but this was a kitchen sink team that Action Network told us to worry about with the Colts. Like when you don't have a win heading into week 3, they're going to do whatever it takes to get a win.
I mean, so I think in this game, the Chiefs 100% lost this game.
You said that, yeah.
There was a point early in the third quarter or fourth quarter.
Oh, this was a shit show.
They went for a fake field goal, and then the punter completely over. Like I could have made that throw.
Well, clearly, because if you were 6 foot, you'd be in the NFL.
I'm 5'8". I'm talking about me. 5'8" Casey would have been able to make that throw.
Oh, okay, all right.
And just completely overthrew his tight end. I mean, who knows if he would have got the first down. If you would have caught it, but it's just one of those things that I don't get that play.
You think a win, and you know what? We have to say this. This is why betting and picking teams in the NFL is so tough. The Colts lose to Houston, or they tie Houston to start the year, which, I mean, I'm on video saying only -7. Are you fucking kidding me? They tie that game. Then they go and get dog walked and shut out in Jacksonville. Another game that I think majority of people were like, the Colts should win this game, especially after a tie to Texans. They're going to come out hot. And then you go and play the Chiefs. Casey was like, I got Chiefs plus 5.5 or -5.5. No problem. I was on the same boat. I was like, Colts are dead. Chiefs are really good. And then the Colts win a game that they shouldn't. And I think that's just why some of this can be so difficult to predict, because we don't know I can't tell you for certain the adjustments the Colts made, but I will tell you in all facets of the games, the highlights I was able to watch and looking at the box score, it does look like they just played a lot better. The Chiefs weren't able to generate the same pressure the Jaguars did. I want the Colts to be good. I do. I don't hate Matt Ryan, and I would like him to get a Super Bowl, especially after that heartbreaking loss, the 28-3 game when he was with the Falcons. I thought the Colts was a great spot for him to land. Great offensive line, running game, and anytime Matt Ryan's had a good running game, He's been a good quarterback. Kind of the same story of Matt Stafford. Don't force him to throw it 50 times, and you'll be surprised at what you get. So, I don't know. I think this game says more about the Colts than it does the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be fine. Hopefully the Colts can do you think they take this and rally? You think they
should. Hopefully they take this and rally. They need it. Like you said, I mean, I've always been a Matt Ryan guy.
Yeah, I'm same. And so hopefully they can rally with this. That division's wide open, especially with how both the Colts and the Titans started off. I think everyone's like 1A, 1B who's going to win that division. So we'll see what happens going forward. Next game, good game. Another game that didn't quite go as people thought. Buffalo Bills. It's so weird when you get to NFL and there's not ranked. I can't number 1 Buffalo Bills because that's who they are. Like they're the best team in the NFL. So Buffalo Bills heading to the Miami Dolphins. Casey, how'd this game turn out?
Dolphins win 21-19. There was some funny things that happened during this. The famous butt safety happened.
The butt fumble, punt.
Punt. So pretty much late in the game, there's about, I think, a minute and a half left or a minute left, something like that. The Dolphins have to punt the ball. They're on their own 1, so it's like they have 10 yards to play with. Usually it's about 15 that you have. A normal between center and punter, you have a 15-yard gap.
Okay.
So they have about 10 yards.
Oh, you're saying because they were backed up so far. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they only had 10 yards. So people are like, okay, well, at this point, let's rush all 9 or rush all 11 pretty much, or rush at least 10. Only leave the one guy back there.
Yeah, I think they rushed.
Just because the kicker's going to get rushed. He has less yardage to deal with. You have a better chance of blocking it.
Yeah, I think they rushed 10 because I think their theory was...
Or they could snap and go over.
Regardless, because of where they're at, even if he gets off a great punt, the field position's still in their favor.
Yep. So he gets it, and he punts it right off his teammate's ass cheek.
He didn't even have a chance to get the punt off either. It was right
there. Yeah, snap, boom, everyone was right there. Got the punt off, went off his teammate's asshole pretty much, and the ball bounced up in the air and then flew out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Bills get a safety.
So I saw Mark Sanchez tweeted at the guy and said, "Please stay out of my lane, bro," because there's the infamous butt fumble with Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez wasn't the only former quarterback this week to get what's the word I'm looking for? Had someone join his company in a quite.
We'll get to that game.
Yeah, we will, and some bad company, I should say. Dolphins might be legit. This is a game where their defense played much better than people thought they would. Defense had been a little shaky to start the year, especially in that game against the Ravens, where they had to do some kind of miraculous shit at the end. I'm kind of on the Mike. Daniels, I think that's his name, Mike Daniels.
It is Mike Daniels.
The head coach I'm on his hype train. I'm all about the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill had some other fantastic comments after this game. He's becoming just a guy that you have to interview post game. I see a stat here that you put in. Dolphins won after running 39 plays versus the Bills 90. Yeah. I think that shows you how good the Dolphins defense was. You give Josh Allen 90 plays to beat you, you're probably losing 9 out of 10 times.
So, no. Here's this stat, and I was surprised by this.
Oh.
So, Josh Allen in his career is 1-7 in games where he throws the ball 40-plus times.
And his running back average is only 51 yards.
In those 8 games, his running backs only average 51
yards. Oh,
51
in those
yards.
games they do.
In those games. So,
wow.
In his entire career,
Josh Allen's a fraud.
He is 1-7 in games. No, it's not that.
I'm joking.
If it's the Bills try to have Josh Allen go God mode every single game, and that can't happen. If you try to put the ball in Josh Allen's hands and say, okay, well, Josh Allen, you have to play a perfect game for us to win a game. That's not going to happen. You're going to lose some games like that.
Yeah, and I think people forget that the Dolphins do have some playmakers on defense. I think Xavier Howard, or I think that's his name, it's one of their defensive captains, and he's their starting corner. It's always been really good. It might be Xavier and Howard. Sorry about that, guys. It's another. I think games like this prove a lot for the Dolphins in the sense that they can win when they don't have both Tyreek and Waddle have 3 touchdowns combined and 400 receiving yards.
Dude.
200 receiving yards.
Look ahead at their schedule.
Yeah, please do it.
They can lose 2 games before December. And they can be what? What would that make their record?
Or they're 3-0 now, so they'd be 6-2.
6-2. So they head to Cincinnati this Thursday. They can probably lose that one. Okay. We'll give that one to them. We'll give that one a loss. Then they head to New York and play the Jets.
Win.
Home against the Vikings.
Win.
Home against the Steelers.
Win.
At Detroit. Toss-up.
Yeah.
We'll give that one to them. That's a toss-up. Then they go to Chicago.
Win.
Home against the Bears or Browns.
Win.
Home against the Texans.
Win.
And then they go at San Francisco. That's the first week in December.
Loss, probably.
Yeah. But
holy shit, so that's more than 6-2.
So at 3, we'll say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 3 they can possibly be.
Yeah.
9
yeah.
and 3.
I would say
that's a legit football team right there.
Yeah, I would say that whoever took Miami to either win the AFC or win the Super Bowl beforehand is probably feeling pretty good.
In their fucking division.
Well, no,
I mean,
they could win, especially they did the easier one. I'm sure Miami probably goes to Buffalo later in the year. We'll chalk that up as a lot. So they're going to split that.
Their December schedule does get a little dicey.
Okay, so we got them at 9-3 right now. So read me their December schedule.
Their December schedule is, the 49ers is the one. Then they go to LA and play the Chargers.
Toss
up just because you don't know.
Okay, if we're going to say right now, we'll just say right now who we think's going to be Dolphins. Yeah.
Dolphins win. Then they head to the Bills. Bills will win that.
Yep.
Home against Green Bay.
Win. Right now, I think that the Dolphins could win that game.
I would go Packers.
All right, so we'll decide with you just for sake of it. Loss.
At New England, they'll win.
Okay.
And then home against the Jets.
Win. So they're going to finish 10, 11, 12, and 5.
That's a fucking damn good team.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, no kidding. I don't you think, because there's a lot of the story so far with some of Kevin O'Connell, the new head coach for the Vikings, started off great, had some questionable stuff happen against the Eagles. Nathaniel Hackett has looked awful with the Broncos. Mike McDaniel is probably off to the best start as a rookie head coach. Probably the most unassuming. Like Mike McDaniels could be sitting next to you in your local Starbucks, and you have no idea that he's an NFL head coach. And he just seems to have that team ready to go. Another product of the Shanahan tree that we've talked about. I'm quickly becoming a fan of the Dolphins. I've always been so on the fence with the Tua slander. A lot of me felt like it's unfair, but then you see clips and you're like, well, that's justified.
Yeah, it's like you go back to like that training camp one where I think it's Tyreek Hill's 20 yards open and he throws it 10 yards short.
Way short. Like not even like, and it looked like Tua put his all into it. And it's like, yeah, so Tua's had a lot of deep ball slander, but like clearly Mike McDaniel's like, well, I made it work with Jimmy G and he doesn't throw a good deep ball. So let's just get Waddle and Tyreek Hill the ball within 10 yards and let them take over. I would say that this is going to set up for quite the matchup in Buffalo later in the year.
Oh, I think so.
There's probably going to be
they'll probably flex this to the Sunday or Monday night game.
Yeah, I would say so because as like injuries aside, like let's just say the season continues with all teams being how they are, which we know that's not the case. But like with that being said, both teams should have pretty good records heading into that game, and you're right, they probably will flex it. Shit, Buffalo probably won't even have to go to school that day.
Right. So another interesting thing about this game is the NFL Players Association wants the NFL to review the league's concussion protocol following the Tua.
Yeah, so this was the Players Association directly challenging the NFL here.
Yep. So what happened? It was in the middle to end of the second quarter.
It's a scary sight, to be honest.
Tua gets sacked, and then he gets up, and he just is stumbling off
the
field.
Like he gathered himself and then tried to take another step, and then it's like, dude, something's not right.
Okay, so they took him back into the locker room. And then he started the second half, and people are questioning, be like, whoa. I mean, this dude looked like he was fucked up about 30 minutes ago, and you guys are now playing him, starting him the second half. I think the Dolphins came out and said that it was due to heat exhaustion.
They also claim that he passed all concussion protocols. So I think, if anything, I think the NFLPA is questioning the protocols. I think the article I read said, like, their direct review wants to be of, okay, what exactly are you guys looking for when it comes to that? Because Tua is a gamer, and he already knows that this is a prove-it season for him. So I think he would have done anything in his power to pass the protocols. Ended up being okay. I mean, obviously, no one here on this podcast, or no one that we associate, we never are rooting for injuries. We don't want anyone to get hurt. That sucks. I love that Tua is such a gamer that regardless, whether it was heat exhaustion or not, comes back out and says, fuck that. But at the end of the day, another bet hit, man. Who fucking knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So that's another one of those things we put an asterisk on the show sheet by. If more news comes out of that, we'll definitely tell you guys. But fucking Tua and the Dolphins, man, look like a team you don't want to play right now.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play them.
And another guy, Chase Edmonds, on my bench, gets 2 touchdowns in this game for the Dolphins. Their running backs haven't scored a touchdown all year before this game, and he gets fucking 2-1 game, sorry. And so this game ended up being good. I took the over, and I was sad that the over didn't hit, but ended up being a good game, man.
It was a really good game. I was happy about it.
What's next?
The Baltimore Ravens heading up to New England and playing the Pats. Ravens win 37-26. Mac Jones left. The key notes of this game is Mac Jones left the game late in the fourth quarter, and per ESPN is believed to have a high ankle sprain.
A bad high ankle sprain.
Yeah. I mean,
did you see the picture? Oh, the pictures. We'll throw the picture up on screen right now.
The picture of Mac Jones did not look good. He looked like he was in a ton of pain. Whoa. Something happened to Sterling Shepard, guys.
Oh, he's good. He's dapping everybody up.
Still, he's getting carted off the field.
Yeah, but, I mean, he can't stay healthy anyway. He's an Oklahoma product. Sterling Shepard is one of the better college wide receivers. Had just such a good season there and hasn't been able to stay healthy since. We're almost done, Tuck. So, some other notes from the Ravens Pats game. Lamar Jackson looked like he could win an MVP this year.
Oh, I think he kind of has to play like this just because of being in the last year of his contract. A lot of people are saying that they aren't going to come to a deal with him and they're just going to do the whole thing that they do with most players, which honestly I think it's kind of bullshit, is franchise tag him.
Yeah, it does seem unfair that
Because then you're giving it to him. It's like, okay, well, you're forced to play with us until you accept our deal because we're just going to franchise tag the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Or you just won't get paid in near out of football for a year, then who knows what teams are going to want you.
Yeah, so, I'm mixed on the franchise tag. I like it because it gives organizations the chance to, cash in on drafted talent. Which I like that, where it's like, hey, one more year, then we'll figure it out if not, because that's always been a problem in all sports where a guy goes to maybe an unassuming market like the Jaguars. Let's say it's Trevor Lawrence, and he knows that the Cowboys are willing to give him the largest contract ever, and the Jags we just can't afford it right now. It gives him another chance, another year to work the books or something and cash in on home drafted talent. I'm mixed on it because it does seem seemingly unfair for a guy like Jackson. We'll see what happens. He had another good game. Threw for 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, rushed for 107 yards, and another touchdown. He accounted for all 5 of the touchdowns in this game. Lamar Jackson, just a beast. Shout out to my dad. B-Web says on Twitter, he drafted him in a league because he's on a contract here. He's going to ball. One of the few smart things Britt's done in fantasy over the years, honestly. The Ravens look like another team you don't want to play. I know they had that bullshit loss. I say bullshit. Dolphins are good. Ravens should have won that game. To the Bills. Ravens look good. If you have some money, I'd maybe spread it on Jackson win the NFL MVP this year. Not only is he doing it on the ground, he's doing it through the air. He finally's got Rashad Bateman, a guy he can throw to. I think
shit, there's almost a fight.
Wait. So what actually happened? Do we know?
I have no idea what happened.
Hold on, guys. Just give us a second. This is what you get. We always watch them while we film. It looks like
the Cowboys. The game is over, And you have a bunch of Cowboy and Giant players just...
Wait, so did my under hit or they still got overtime?
No, look at... Okay, what's 23 and 16? Is one of them higher than the other?
Okay.
We're not doing that. Go.
So is this another push?
You push this one, yeah.
So I have 0 losses on the week.
No. You have losses.
How?
You have losses. You didn't go undefeated, you idiot.
Well, don't push. Pushes don't count as losses.
Okay, you're not talking about that, dumbass. Let's go through it.
I had at least 2 pushes.
Okay, you lost Miami Bills over. You lost SMU money line. Lost that one, bitch.
So I lost 2.
Okay.
Okay.
And you also went 1-9 last week and 3-7 the week before.
Okay.
And you still have a losing record.
So there's almost a fight after the game here in the Bills Cowboys game. Sorry guys, we got in case we got to step it up. We're getting lazy. Sorry about that, guys.
No, that wasn't. That would have been breaking news. You're the one that started running your fucking mouth about records and shit. Moving on.
I told you the Cowboys were going to win, by the way.
Cincinnati
Cooper
Bengals,
Rush continues to be elite.
Say the next teams.
Cincinnati Bengals head to the New York Jets. Bengals win 27-12. Looks like another. Casey's being a little sourpuss.
Did you say the Bengals were going to win this one too?
Yeah, I did. I actually did.
Bitch.
Did we? Whoa! Oh, we had to say that for Thursday. Sorry.
What?
That we won our pick and parlay.
Oh yeah, we'll save it for Thursday.
Sorry, guys. I just remember that because this was a team in there.
Yeah.
We got good news on Thursday, boys.
Even though they just heard it, but fuck it.
It's all right. A little teaser. Tune in on Thursday. So Bengals win 27-20. Bengals defense led
27-20?
27-12. Sorry.
27-20?
27-12. Sorry.
27-20?
27-12. Sorry. Bengals defense leads the entire way. Bengals defensive lineman Trey Hendrickson led the way with 2.5 tackles, 2 forced fumbles on the day. Defense also forced 2 Joe Flacco interceptions. Joey B starts out hot, man. Finally, Bengals offense gets back on track. He had a career high 163 passing yards in the opening quarter and also threw 2 TD passes in the process. He was only sacked twice on the day, which is huge considering that, you know, their offensive line.
Congratulations!
Yeah, their offensive line's been horrible.
Like the first 2 weeks, he got sacked 13 times?
Yeah, it was horrible, dude. I mean, like, again, I think one of them was like a franchise high sack. Just not good. He was 22 of 33, 22 of 36 on the day, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Sauce Gardner did continue to impress. He covered Jamar Chase most of the afternoon. He had 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass defenses, which I think means he broke the play up.
Pass the
yep. Although Chase did score he joined some company. Sauce Gardner wasn't guarding him this time, but he scored his 15th career touchdown in 20 games. It's the 4th most in a player's first 20 career games. Sauce wasn't guarding him. He joined the likes of like Odell and some other really, you know, all our Hall of Famers. I had that up. I thought I put it in the notes, but apparently not. It's no big deal. But again, you know, I think we both thought that this would be the Bengals coming out party. They started off slow the previous 2 weeks. Sloppy game against Pittsburgh, and then a pretty much bullshit game against Cowboys.
Right. So yeah, good game for them. They needed a game like this for them to help them.
Do you think this is one team that could break the mold for your 0-2 teams?
Nope, they're out of the playoffs. Nope. Every team that started 0-2 is out of the playoffs. I don't think any team is going to break that mold.
Moving on to the next game, I don't have anything else. Oh, I will say this. We were both rooting for T. Higgins touchdowns in this game. This was probably the best red zone coverage we got was of this game because there were so many, like, I don't know, when they were in the red zone, Casey had Higgins in one league, I had Higgins in another, and like a guy like would catch a pass and there was like a penalty, and we were like, "Hey, we got another." Remember that at one point you're like, "It's an offensive penalty," and I was like, "We've never rooted for an offensive penalty so hard in our life."
I was like, "It's a holding. They didn't score. It's coming back. It's a holding. I need a Higgins touchdown."
And then he throws a pass to Samaje Perine, and it's just bullshit. Next game, Philadelphia Eagles heading to the Washington Commanders, not the Redskins. Eagles win 20-48.
The Commanders last week.
Yeah. Eagles win 20-48. And Casey, are the Eagles the best team in the NFC?
They're looking like it. They are definitely looking like it. They're looking like a team that can't be stopped right now. And their defense is easily, possibly one of the best in the NFL at the moment.
Yeah, I think they sacked Wentz 9 times on this in this game. Wentz was sacked 4 times in the opening quarter to kind of set the tone. Their offense struggled. Wentz couldn't really get them going. They had 240 total yards. Wentz threw for 153, and then they only had 87 rushing yards. Brandon Graham led the way for the Eagles, former Michigan product, 2.5 sacks, plus Wentz's only turnover of the game. Eagles defense forced a turnover on downs. Both of why am I reading this like I'm...
Like a book?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had himself a game. Oklahoma product. 22 of 35, 340 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions. Jalen Hurts is having himself a year.
Yeah, let me try to go back. Eagles defense also played well. They forced a turnover on downs on both of Washington's red zone possessions, which is huge. And like I said, Wentz was sacked 9 times in the entire game. That just seems like a shit ton. Jalen Hurts also a favorite for MVP this year.
I can see that happen. I would say him or
Jackson
are the two that I'm going to go for. I see a stat here. I just don't believe it's true.
Okay. Are you going to look that up? Want me to keep talking?
Holy shit. Eagles scored all their points in the second quarter?
All their points in the second quarter.
I didn't believe that.
Yeah. Every point was scored in the second quarter.
Wow.
So that's so basic. When I was doing some research for this game, it sounded like everything I was reading. Apparently, there was some visibly frustrated players from the Commanders. Wide receivers were pissed about Wentz. I guess there were several deep balls that they were open on that he just didn't pull the trigger on. At one point in the game, he finally connected with Scary Terry for a deep one, and after Scary Terry caught it, he basically was like, about fucking time. Just the late, the quote was, Scary Terry visibly frustrated after long catch. And it's like, why are we waiting to do this until we're already out of the game?
Yeah.
The defense apparently was super frustrated because they held him scoreless 3 out of 4 quarters and still lost by double digits. Doesn't sound like everything's flowing well for the Commanders. I heard that after that second quarter and Wentz's poor play, granted, he's sacked 9 times. Don't know how many of those sacks were because he's just being Wentz in the pocket and running right, running left, holding onto the ball too long. But sounds like there was some heels being dragged heading back to the huddle. This is fucking stupid. Eagles scored all 24 of their points in the second quarter, and through 3 games this year, 65 of their 84 points have come in the second quarter. Sounds like they make some good first quarter adjustments and then kind of coast from there.
Yeah, so if you're going to beat the Eagles, stop them in the second quarter.
Yeah, that seems to be the recipe for success. Keep an eye on the Eagles going forward, man. They might be a team this year. They might be a team.
I think they'll be a team. They're definitely going to be a team.
The Commanders are exactly what we thought they were.
Yeah, fuck the Commanders.
Yeah.
Sorry,
PFT.
New Orleans Saints heading to Carolina and playing the Panthers. The Panthers win 22-14. Isn't that the Panthers? Nope, They beat the Browns. They beat the Browns week 1, didn't they?
Mm-mm.
No, the Browns won. Yeah, this is the Panthers' first win of the year. Congratulations.
Shout out to Baker. Although Baker at the end of week 3 has the lowest QBR in the league, there's a lot of fear that some of Baker's previous teammates, whether it be OBJ, Njoku, some other players, that the reason why they started sucking in fantasy and production isn't because of any of their fault, but because of Baker. DJ Moore, pretty highly drafted wide receiver for the Seahawks in fantasy leagues this year, off to a horrible start.
Not Seahawks, Panthers.
God, sorry guys. Yeah, Panthers. And it just seems like Baker I know he's not playing great, but honestly, Panthers defense is why they get this win. The defense made a bunch of big plays in this game. At one point, Frankie Louvu stripped Alvin Kamara, which resulted in a recovery return for a touchdown by Marquise Haynes. Carolina in this game was outgained 426 yards to 293 yards. That's a pretty big disparity there, despite winning the game. Winston Winston felt pressure all afternoon. He ended up throwing 2 picks. One was early in the fourth. One was early in the fourth quarter. Another one was on a desperation throw at the end of the game. Won't really give him too much problems with that one. He just threw it up hoping something would happen. Panthers bend but don't break defense, man. They didn't allow Saints to score a TD in the first 3 quarters. Let up a lot of yards, but didn't allow a touchdown. That typically is a recipe for success. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier with that rush 4, drop 7. Let up a lot of yards in between the 20-yard lines, but once you get down there, it can become hard to score. Saints offense, like I said, moved well, but it shot itself in the foot. They fumbled 3 times, only lost one of them, but still fumbled 3 times and threw 2 picks. That can't happen. And there's a lot of talk, like I said, about Baker being kind of the problem. We'll see if they can get it figured out. I had the Panthers winning this game, and they did. They just won it ugly. Here's a stat that might floor you, Casey. This is via NFL.com. The Saints have been shut out in the first half 4 times in their first 20 games following Drew Brees' retirement. They were shut out in the first half 4 times in 228 games with Brees as their starter.
That's insane.
So quarterback problems continue to be an issue for.
I knew this was going to happen when Drew Brees retired. That it's going to take him a while to find a new QB. There's not that many out there.
Not many like Drew Brees especially.
Well, even then, I mean, you have Josh Allen. I'm talking about younger guys. I'm not throwing Brady. I'm not throwing Rodgers into this mix.
Dude, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert.
There's a slew of them, but you really don't find guys like that.
No,
there's a lot more shitty quarterbacks in the NFL
Brees
than
is probably arguably top 5 quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're talking about a dude that you're talking about possibly one of the best of all time.
Yeah. It sucks because it feels like, Chris Olave had a day. He's one of the highest fantasy scorers on the week. Finally kind of broke out being the rookie they thought they drafted. He had a hell of a day. But still, Jameis that one pick early in the 4th really hurt him. Kamara can't fumble the ball like that.
That dude's about to be on my never fantasy
draft list. Same. He fucking lost me my week this week by only putting up 9 points. That fumble also just killed him. It does feel like the Saints have everything right but the quarterback position. After the game, Dennis Allen was asked if he's going to bench Jameis, and he kind of chuckled and said absolutely not. He goes, this isn't a Jameis problem. He goes, it's an us problem. And basically said that in all facets of the game, whether it's defense, on offense or special teams, that they need to look within and kind of take some notes, because he was like, dude, we're in prime position to do something this season. He goes, we just need to be a little bit sharper. Definitely feels like this is another game where the Saints probably should have won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%. You outgain a team by almost 150 yards. You should win the game. Panthers get it done. They move to 1-2. And we'll see what they can do going forward. This is 2 teams. We talked about it with the Raiders and Tennessee earlier. Those are 2 what I would consider good teams that I don't know what to expect. These are just 2 teams I don't know what to expect. It's going to be hard to predict what you get from either of these teams going forward. Christian McCaffrey had a good day. I think he had over 100 yards on the ground. That's what's going to have to happen for Carolina to be competitive going forward.
I agree with that. Moving on, the
Shocker of the
Jacksonville
week.
Jaguars head out to LA and play the Chargers. Jags win 1, 38-10. How legit are the Jags?
Shit. I don't know, man. I
don't want to. I mean,
they got a real coach finally.
We're 3rd week win. I don't want to just all of a sudden say, "Oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl." I'm not going to go out and say that.
I don't think they'll be picking in the top 5 of this year's draft.
Oh, that's not happening. I mean, you can possibly talk. This team's 3-0, 2-1,
2-1.
When you're talking about this team could possibly. I mean, yeah, they're not going to pick bottom 5. They might possibly be compete for the wild card possibly. But turnovers go the Jags' way.
The Jags never look back. So for the first drive for the Chargers in this game, Herbert's pass went right through Sony Michel's hands and right into rookie linebacker Devin Lloyd's hands. He ended up making the pick, and then the next drive, Herbert ended up being sacked and fumbled. So it's back-to-back drives where they lost the football. Turnovers it's one of those things in the NFL, man. A lot of times you have opportunities to fumble, you don't dive on it in time. Interception, your safety drops it, and he shouldn't have. When the turnovers go your way, you're going to probably win the game. Doug Peterson's too good, man. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got Trevor Lawrence looking like a number one pick. We'll see what happens. They started both those drives that I just talked about in field goal position. Hard not to come away with points there. I think they led 13-0 after the back-to-back turnovers, and they kind of never looked back. They left L.A. with their first road win since 2019. That's wild. Haven't won on the road since 2019. Herbert played okay, even though he had broken rib cartilage. Finished 24-45, almost 300 yards, 297. But Jags scored on 7 out of their 11 drives. Chargers defense couldn't get them off the field. I don't know. Jags only allowed points on 2 of the Chargers' drives all afternoon. It's hard to say, man. Was Herbert being injured really hurt him? I mean, he still threw for 45 fucking times. What do you think?
I would say so. I mean, just because he threw for 45 times, but he only connected on 25 of them. I would say that definitely a rib?
Rib cartilage.
Rib cartilage.
Yeah.
Definitely probably affected him throwing the ball, so.
It's tough, man. I think a lot of people are high on the Chargers. I think Herbert's impressed in his first 2 years in the league. And I think people thought the Chargers were going to take a massive step forward. Probably a pretty glaring loss for the Chargers. They got to do some things. They got to figure some stuff out. I expect the Chargers to be fine with Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler. I think it's going to be hard for them to lose a lot of games like this. We'll see, though. Anytime a team comes from the East Coast out to the West Coast and beats your ass in your home field, though, you gotta look within. I don't know if you saw this. Lawrence did join Peyton Manning as the only quarterback to lose. He started his career with 9 straight road losses and then won his 10th on the road. So good for Trevor Lawrence. Joins.
It's a great name to be a part of.
Right, yeah, great name to be a part of. So
the Los Angeles Rams head down to Arizona
ugly game
and play the Cardinals. Rams win a whopping 20-12. Yeah. Not much to say. This game to me was not that exciting.
Okay. Yeah. Rams scored on their first 3 possessions, take a 13-0 lead. And then the Rams their defense essentially forced Kyler and the Cardinals to settle for 4 field goals. They did everything they could without scoring points. I mean, when you take a lead on 13-0 and then only score 7 rest of the game, that's a little disconcerting.
Yeah, that sucks.
They didn't let Kyler go video game mode, which was good. Stafford didn't throw a touchdown for the first time as a Rams quarterback. So, I don't know. We've been concerned about Stafford and the Rams.
It's just because what I've heard in the offseason about him possibly having a small little elbow injury that people are trying to put under the table and all this and that. Just go get healthy, man. Go get healthy.
Yeah, so like we said, the Rams pulled the game out despite being outgained 365-339. I know that's pretty close, but they did only earn 15 first downs in the game, which means once they jumped out to that 13-year-old start, the Cardinals defense kind of stepped up and held them at bay. The problem was that the Rams defense just didn't fucking budge. They had multiple third down stops that were crucial, and they kept the Cards out of the end zone. But the Cardinals started slow again, man. They had 22 yards on their first 13 plays and first 4 drives to start the game. It was good to see for fantasy owners, though. Hollywood Brown finally made some fantasy owners happy. Although he didn't find the end zone, he had 14 catches on 17 targets and 140 yards. I started him. That was it.
I was gonna say, just the yards alone, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I needed that. So it's good to see that they finally found some chemistry. But I was reading about this game this morning, Case, and it just just 2 articles that were written by local Arizona reporters, and they said that Kyler just looks really uncomfortable when he gets down into like that past like their 30 or the opponent's 30 range, and he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins because he's like they don't have a true.
They don't have the guy that he can just throw it.
Yeah, they're like they can't dial up a play to be like even if he's doubled, Hopkins can get open here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's hard to read both of these teams heading into week 4. But the one last thing I want to say, Aaron Donald, claps to him, notched his 100th career sack. He becomes the second player to primarily play defensive tackle to earn 100-plus sacks since 1982, joining Hall of Famer John Randall, who finished with 137.5 career sacks. I don't think Donald will quite get there. He almost retired after last year. But 100 career sacks in today's modern age.
Did you hear about that story?
Go for it.
So Donald turned in his, I'm retiring papers.
Really?
And the Rams didn't turn it in.
Oh, they're like, yeah. And
they're
like, that ain't happening.
We'll have this conversation another day. And then ended up working out a deal and signing him to a two-year deal.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he legitimately, I heard he handed them his resignation paper and said, I'm done, I'm retiring. And
they're like, we'll just hold on to that.
And they didn't turn it into the NFL in time. And then next thing you know, they signed him to a deal. That's hilarious to me.
Moving on, Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. Falcons win.
This game must have made you excited. You yelling and shit.
I'm just trying to get the vibes up, man. I know it's late. I know we started late. I know it's been tough, but let's power through the last 4 games.
A 3-hour app.
No, it won't.
Yes, it is. We were an hour and a half before this NFL one. This NFL one's about to be an hour and a half.
Dude, we didn't start till almost 9. Yeah, you're right.
It's almost midnight.
Oh my god! All right, let's just power through these, guys. We're sorry. We're gonna try and find a way to be better. We love doing what? We love doing what? We love doing what? Let's get the vibes up.
We love talking ball. We love fucking talking ball.
So Falcons win 27-23. Kyle Pitts finally has a game. 5 catches for 87 yards. Made some fantasy owners happy. Excuse me. Sorry, God, I'm just trying to power through this. Falcons.
Take your time for an hour, and if we're 3 hours, we're 3 hours. We'll be fine. We won't do it next week. We'll try not to do it next week.
We got so many fucking shit to talk about. Falcons are 4-0 when Kyle Pitts has 80 or more receiving yards. Falcons offense look great. Drake London is proving why he was the first receiver off the board in this year's NFL draft. He caught what would be the game-winning touchdown late in the third quarter. Cordell Patterson, who feels like he's been around since 2003, 153 yards from scrimmage, played really well, and Mariota threw for a touchdown and ran one in as well.
He's having a year.
It feels like the Falcons aren't a team to be slept on. It feels like if they do win, it's going to be in shootouts like this. I don't know. Good game, though. Good game.
Good game. Really good game. I have not much to say on it other than didn't know Cordell Patterson was still in the NFL. Drake London's having himself a year. Thank you. I drafted him on one of my fantasy teams.
He's going to be very good. He looks like he's going to be amazing.
He was one of the
good
guys on the when I was like, I hope the Lions get him in the draft.
Yeah, if they trade up, let's try to target him.
Let's go after him or whatever. And then Mariota's having himself a year this year.
Yeah, proven that like maybe he can be a Jared Goff in the NFL.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing Mariota's washed, Mariota this, Mariota that, Mariota sucks, and
he had a passing and a rushing touchdown.
Winning football games. You have anything else to say about this game?
The only other thing I'd say is that Water did kind of find its level with Geno Smith. Took a bad sack late in the fourth quarter. That kind of put this game out of reach. I think they were at the 28-yard line, ended up getting sacked 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and kind of sealed the deal for the Falcons. I would also like to say that we both picked the Falcons to win this game.
We did. Moving on, the Green Bay Packers heading down to Florida and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Packers win a close one, 14-12 to cap off our picks of the week parlay, but we're going to get into that next week.
Yep. Riders started hot, 12 of 13, and off to a 14-3 lead to start the game. Things kind of got a little lullaby there for a second. Brady had a decent game, 31 of 42, 271, and a touchdown. He also played without Evans, Godwin, and Jones.
Let's put some context to it. He was
He didn't have his top 3 guys.
Yeah.
They had to sign Cole Beasley in the middle of the week
Yeah.
just so they had a dude he can throw it to.
They had Brashard Perriman, a guy the Lions cut last year. They had Russell Gage, who played hurt, Cole Beasley, and then I can't remember, another receiver I haven't heard of that played. Brady was kind of not with it. Brady, we watched the end of that game. A lot of offensive line issues, back-to-back delay of games at the end of the game. One when they were trying to go for a 2-point conversion that ultimately killed them to tie the game. The only other thing I'll say about this game, because we took Packers +1, thank God.
Took Packers money line.
Yep, and finally, Rodgers had a rookie wide receiver step up for him. Romeo Abdal was from Nevada. 8 passes, 73 yards, and a 5-yard touchdown. Good for him. Good for him. The story with him all throughout training camp is that he was always open and just dropping wide open passes. Probably a little nervous playing with A-Rod, who's known to get after his rookies a little bit, just like Brady does. But still, we were on the right side of that one. I am very curious about how the rest of this Bucs season's going to go.
Oh, so
they got some shit to figure out.
They have a lot of shit to figure out. It's one of those things on when is Godwin coming back and how long is Julio going to be out for? And obviously,
their offensive line. Dude, these delay games, that's on the center. Brady was we saw him trying to snap the ball, and the center's doing his final checks. It's dude, what are we doing?
You to snap the ball, snap the fucking ball.
Even on that touchdown pass, we both said that should be a delay game.
Oh yeah,
it was at 0 for they what the referees do is they look at the clock. When it hits 0, they look down, and if they're not snapping the ball by the time they pull the flag, then it's good. They give him a buffer because they know it's not perfect. Dude, that thing was at 0 for longer than a buffer. That should have been a delay game anyway. Good for the Packers. Glad we won our parlay. You guys will hear about it on Thursday.
You guys will hear about that on Thursday. Moving on. The Sunday night game.
This game dog
sucked.
shit.
This game was horrible.
Dog shit.
San Francisco 49ers heading to Denver and playing the Broncos. Let's ride.
Broncos Nation.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Right into a boring-ass game. Right into a boring-ass game.
Broncos went 11-10. Is that a scoreagami?
That's probably a scoreagami.
But you have a note in here. The Mariners game had more points in this one.
Yep.
Look at the score of that one. I have an interesting stat in this one.
Please keep going.
I think there was more. I saw something. This was Battle of the Punters. The 49ers punter, I think he punted the ball 10 times, while the Broncos punter punted the ball 11 times. This was a Battle of the Punters. More punts than points. I love football games like this. I love when the games are put into the punter's hands.
The score of the Mariners-Royals game was 12-13. So we had a baseball game that outscored an NFL game yesterday.
That is amazing. We had another interesting thing happen in this game. Jimmy G does not know where he is on the field. He is unaware on where the out of bounds is in the end zone.
Shout out to Dan Orlovsky.
And fuck Dan Orlovsky. Dan Orlovsky's was worse. But
still, he finally has someone to join his company. You know what I mean? He's not the only one that's going to get made fun of.
Dan Orlovsky has company now. Jimmy G runs or backs out of the back of the end zone. I mean, in his defense, you still have to be aware it was still bad. It was still a dumbass play. So you have to be know your surroundings. But he only had the 1 foot out. Dan Orlovsky ran completely out of bounds and continued to run for a good 5 or 6 yards while he was out of bounds.
His was worse. I agree, but it is funny because when it happened,
Allen doing the gritty.
When it When it happened, want to show us your best gritty?
I can't do one.
Okay,
dude, it's midnight.
All right. I will say that I loved the Twitter reaction for Dan Orlovsky. He was like, "I finally been freed. Someone joins the cave with me." A couple.
No. Only thing you're free of is now you have all these younger football fans that didn't know that happened to you. Now they know that happened to you. They're just gonna clown you, or that gives people like us. You just reminded me that your dumbass self did that.
Okay. A couple. Are you good?
Am I saying it? Did I start saying something?
You're just huffing. I could hear you go. Urgh.
I did not do that.
I don't know. I sound like
Must be your lip that's fucking.
Are you fucking kidding me? Wilson and the Broncos had Wilson and Broncos. I'm just ignoring them. I got actual stats here other than just some dude stepping in the end zone. Wilson and the Broncos had 9 3-and-outs on Sunday, which is the most.
I didn't say an interesting stat. I said something interesting happened.
Wilson and the Broncos had 9 3-and-outs on Sunday, which is the most in a game in Wilson's career and the most in a Broncos game since 91. Ugly game. 49ers did score quick with the passing game, connecting on the 3-yard slant to Brandon Ayuk. Shout out to Brandon Ayuk. If you would have caught one more pass, I would have won fantasy this week, bitch. But 49ers, after that, they didn't go past the Denver 47 until the fourth quarter, and that was only because the drive started there. Just bad. Garoppolo lost a fumble late on their first two third quarter possessions. Garoppolo lost a fumble, and then Jeff Wilson Jr. fumbled as well. Not great. Final 2 drives for the 49ers. Garoppolo only managed... I can't read my own notes. Garoppolo only managed 27 yards on his final 2 drives and in a pick. I don't know, man. It just wasn't good. Don't listen to any of that last shit. I don't know if any of that's accurate.
First pick of the year and Jeff Wilson's first fumble of the year.
Yeah, just not good, man.
What do you think? That, fuck the Broncos.
11-10.
Bounce back.
This feels like a scapegoat win for the Broncos after how bad they've been.
Yeah.
Do you think there's 49er fans that are worried because they were like, oh, Jimmy G's back, we're good?
No.
Not worried?
No. Why would you be worried?
You lost the game.
Okay, that's one game. You have 17 more. I wouldn't be worried yet.
We're in week 3. We all have 17.
I wouldn't be worried yet. Moving on. Our Detroit, like you would like to say, football Lions.
Sorry.
Had the Minnesota and played the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings win 28-24.
Shout out to KJ.
Shout out to KJ Osborne scoring the game-winning touchdown for Minnesota. Dalvin Cook leaves in the game late in the third with a shoulder injury.
Yeah. Yep. Lions blew multiple
opportunities.
I would say they were up by double-digit points twice in this game. They blew both leads. They are also the only team in the NFL this week to blow a double-digit lead. Feels like SOL to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lions definitely had a chance to win this. I mean, this is just another one of those conversations that I feel like we're starting to have almost every week this year. At least 2 of the weeks is.
I mean, even against the Commanders, there was questionable shit that happened.
I'm starting to get sick of Dan Campbell and these fucking calls that he's making.
Why are you going to be so aggressive? They had multiple times throughout the game where they went for it on fourth down. One of them resulted in 7 points, and then late in the game, Vikings have no timeouts. You're on, I think, what would be like a 53 or 54-yard field goal for Siebert.
54-year-old.
It's 4-yard
field goal.
4th and 4. You have 3 options. You go for it, you kick a field goal, or you punt deep, and you pin them at the worst at the 20. And they decided to kick a field goal, which I think Casey said would have been the career long for Siebert.
His career long was like 52 or 53, and they decided. I mean, again, it's only 1 or 2 more yards, but
you only go up 6 anyway.
Here's this: I didn't know about this until I was listening to sports radio on my way home, and if Dan Campbell would have known, it's either Dan Campbell didn't know this information, or if he did know this information, he's just a fucking idiot and a horrible coach. That end that they were kicking in, everyone's been going pushing right. No one has made a field goal on kicking in that end of Minnesota's field.
On that hash?
That end. Just how the wind goes on that side of that field.
Even though it's indoors, there's something about it then.
They're not indoors.
Yeah, they are.
They can open up the roof.
Oh, okay, well.
They can, they can close it, but I'm pretty sure they can open up the roof because I saw something. I was listening to our local Detroit sports radio, 97.1, and they were saying that every ball every field they have not kicking in that end of Minnesota's field. So it's no one has made a field goal this year.
Yeah, see, I was pretty frustrated too because like Goff's playing good football. Lions have
Goff played a great game.
Yeah, they've also have shown that like they're going to be the aggressive team. If you don't have a play on 4th and 4, to me, you punt or you go for it there. I don't love the field goal to go up by 6, and I get it. Got to score a touchdown to beat us. I get the idea. I don't know. It feels counterintuitive to like what they've done like all year and all through Campbell's tenure, which is be aggressive. You're built through your offensive line. If you can't get 4 yards, then I don't know what your identity is.
Well, did you hear what Jared Goff said at the end of the game?
That he wishes that if he would have went up, he said, I guarantee if I would have went up to Campbell, he would have let us go for it. He regrets not doing so. Well, that's fine. You can wish.
It's like, how about this? It's like you're at a fucking wedding. Speak now or forever hold your fucking peace.
Yeah, I agree.
Shut the fuck up. Don't say that shit in a fucking press conference.
I hate the hindsight. Campbell did the same thing. He was like,
oh, we could have did this. Oh, if I would have did this.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
You
up
didn't
and
do it.
in the game. You didn't do it. I don't care about it after the fact.
yeah, I agree. I was pretty annoyed with that. Campbell came out and was like, oh, man, I freaking regret not going for it, man. It's like, well, yeah, I would too because you lost the fucking game. If you would have won the game, would you have still come out there and said, although we won, I wish we would have went for it? I doubt it. Probably would have been like, that was the right fucking call. Yep. So don't come out here at the end. I hate that shit. I love Dan Campbell. Hated that. There's a term I use with coaches quite a bit, especially in losses, right? Press conference losses. A lot of times you just end up saying too fucking much.
Yep.
Just say, hey, we got film to look at. We'll get back after this week.
Week.
Don't get out there and just start talking. No fan wants to hear that you fucking regret. Goes, well, I told the team. Oh, man, I told the team that I wish we would have went for it. Yeah, well, if I was Penei Sewell or one of those guys that just was out there for 60 minutes, I'd say, well, fuck you. Next time we better go for it.
And 2 months ago, I wish I would have changed my Mega Million ball number to 3 instead of 14, and I would have been a millionaire.
Yeah.
Hindsight 2020. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So this does feel like Lions blew this game. Like I said, they're the only team to ever, not to ever, but this week to blow a double-digit lead. So I don't know. Still high on the Lions. They played. We didn't think they were going to win.
I didn't think they were going to.
And they had a chance to win. So let's just hope that this doesn't derail the Lions season. Hope the golf keeps playing well. Did you hear Campbell's comments about Swift today?
Yeah, that
he's probably out the next 2 weeks.
That he thinks he should sit out the next 2 weeks because it will definitely help him out later on.
Swift is so injury prone, man.
I don't mind that move by him because you're looking out for your guy. You're pretty much saying let's just give him 2 weeks because
2 weeks versus always being hurt rest of the year.
Yep, he's been a guy where he's always been hurt, so just give him the 2 weeks, let him rest. Yeah, it sucks that he's not going to be on the field. I'm going to want him on the field. He's definitely a huge impact in that
dynamic
line offense.
Player.
But it's also one of those things. If he's hurt, okay, I would rather have him not play 2 weeks and then play the rest of the season than have him this on and off shit to where, oh, is he playing this week? Oh, he's not playing this week. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's out 5 games instead of possibly only 2 right now.
Yeah, Lions are beginning to enter the part of the schedule that could be a little. Who don't they? Isn't like the next stretch tough and then the ending's easy?
No, I think they're heading to New England next.
Yeah,
I think they can win that.
Really?
I think they can win that. New England sucks. It's okay. Mac Jones not playing. Who's their quarterback?
Oh, it's that high. Oh, it's Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, they'll beat them.
So they go. They're home against Seahawks and they're on the road against the Patriots. They could win the next 2. They
can easily win the next 2. Seahawks suck.
Campbell did say he's looking forward to going on the road. He said he thinks the players will be juiced for it. He goes, there's something about playing.
Yeah, especially the next 2 weeks. The Seahawks you'll most likely beat. You're 5.5 point favorites right now. That's what the spread opened up at.
Okay.
Then you had 2 New England. Okay, just because you lose that one, then you'll have them back for Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Dude, it's been fun to watch the Lions this year. Not many years where we can say that we could be 3-0. So
right.
We'll see.
So that is our NFL slate.
Yep.
We're gonna get into technically is gonna be a new segment, but the new segment is gonna be Thursday. So
we're gonna tease you guys a little bit.
So every week we have a bowl of every NFL team. We're gonna pick one team out in whatever team they're playing that week, whatever game that week has. So like for example,
we'll involve the new segment.
Say if we picked the Lions last week, then we would have the Lions-Vikings as part of our segment. So
yep. So whatever team gets picked every Tuesday, And you guys will know on Thursday what the segment is.
Well, yeah,
it should be fun, though. I think they'll enjoy it.
You guys will enjoy it. So
you want me to pick?
Pick the team. Pick the team.
All right, I got one. Read it, Casey.
So it can. The only game it cannot be is the Thursday night game. Other than that, it can. So if we pick like a team and we have to pick a team after that,
because we don't cover it Thursday because we record on Thursday.
We record on
so
Thursdays.
It would be pointless for us to give you guys our picks and you see them on Friday.
Right. So the game that is going to be included in our new segment is the New York Jets heading to Pittsburgh and playing the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
So that is our game that we will be talking about, or that's going to be involved in our new segment that is coming on Thursdays or Fridays episode.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoy. This is something that we've talked about bringing to this show
since we started
it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know why we just didn't do it at the first 4 weeks of the year.
We needed to get everything else figured out first. And we had a lot going on, and I think you guys will notice, for anyone that's watched the first episode, even if you just watched the first one and watch this one, the setup, the camera, the mics, everything's gotten so much better that we thought it's time to kind of start adding some tricks and stuff. Although we might have to stop adding segments, considering that this could be a 3-hour-long episode. We'll figure that shit out. Good episode, Casey. Before we get off for the night, I would like you to end with a rant about how fucked this recording almost was and how we almost didn't record to begin with.
No, we're not. We're not going on that rant. We're just going to end the show right fucking now.
Okay.